willkommen, liebe Weicherinnen, liebe Weicher, zu eurem Fest 750, 751 Jahre Weich. Es freut uns sehr, sind ihr da. Wir heißen euch ganz herzlich willkommen zu der 20.
Hey everybody, welcome back. If you were with us earlier on for the Swiss Rookie Championships 2022 here in Weiach, if you're just joining us now, we're getting ready for the pros. They're going to be on stage shortly. My name is Troy Mannering. I'm your host for today. I'll be guiding you throughout this entire event, and with me is Jolanda Gnedinger. She is our expert, just came third in the women's competition yesterday. Jolanda, looking forward to an exciting day today.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I am. It's going to be great.
Yeah? Now, you've got somebody special that's going to be competing on stage, but you have to keep it neutral for the day. Huh?
I am Swiss.
We do have a lot of action for you still to come this weekend. There's, of course, the Swiss Pro Championship, which we're about to get going right now. We'll introduce you to some of the key people on stage shortly. And then tomorrow, we have the European Nations Cup. It's a rookie-pro combination to gain points to see which nation will be the top European nation. So now we're going to head over to the stage and meet some of the people that we're going to be needing today for the competition. So you see Benny and Boti, those are our two stage moderators. Benny on the left-hand side and Boti on the right. He is our expert. And coming up onto the stage right now, our Global Sports Director, Spike Milton. He's keeping a close eye on everything that's going on. He's got so many responsibilities. It's crazy that he isn't falling over under the pressure. Then coming up onto stage, we have our main stage judge, Bart Janssen. And this is his stage that we see there in the background that's used often for these events. Joining him on stage will be another Janssen, Schul Janssen, who we often see in the Competition Control Center. He was there earlier, and now he is on stage for our pros. And speaking of the Competition Control Center, in our technical center, we have Noud van Liach. He is the man that's taking care of all of those really close-up details when we have a question about a false start, maybe a broken block, or somebody stepping down off the block with an axe swing in the middle of the competition. So all of those high-speed cameras are watching everything there like a hawk. Now, coming up onto the stage, our competitors. First up, Martin Berwert. So some of his details there, you can see his size and his details about how many national appearances he's got and so on and so forth. Looking to try and get a little bit better than a 10th place today, as he'll be joined now by Robin Haas. Here's a man who we've seen quite frequently in the last little while, making a bit of a name for himself, as you see 11th place in the Swiss qualifier in 22. Coming up next, David Bierer. And all of these guys have qualified or have had experience enough to be able to stand on stage and compete in the pros today. Coming up now, Albert Kläger. He came up with, as you would say in German, Schwung, yeah, with a little bit of speed. Right. He's excited. 12 times he's been in the national championship, so he's got a bit of pedigree, huh?
He sure does.
Thomas Gerber coming up next. So, character right there.
He definitely is. So this is one guy to watch out for.
More often than not, just because of the earrings and the hat, correct?
That's right.
That's a kind of like a signature of his. Hat high on the back of his head. All right, coming up next, David Knecht. Those are some smiling eyes right there. 10 national championship appearances, 7th place at the Swiss qualifier this year. He has had a bronze medal in the past, so maybe he can do it again today. Joining him, Marcel Amann. He is a man. Oh, terrible. And if you're interested in following any of these folks, you'll often see if they do have an Instagram or a Twitter profile, their information will be under their name, folks. So definitely do follow and give these guys a like. Next up, Severin Bühler. Now, he's a man that's been around for quite a long time. He's got plenty of appearances in national championships and international championships. So looking forward to seeing him on stage today and competing.
And he's going to want to get that title again this year.
Yes, absolutely. Cyril Papst. He was standing just around the corner from us earlier on and having a chat with a few of the fans. 18 national championship appearances, 5-time silver medalist, national pro champion. I mean, he's definitely got the pedigree as well. Next up, the great white hope for Switzerland, Oli Reinhard. He just stepped out of the rookie ranks this year after the Rookie World Championships in Vienna. Also competed in the World Trophy there, unfortunately injuring himself so he couldn't go on, but high hopes for him today as well.
Indeed.
Coming up next, a legend, an absolute master, and somebody that everybody on the stage looks up to, but also has to be quite worried about, is Christophe Geissler. Now, he is one of the elder statesmen of the sport at 48 years of age, but he is still an absolutely relevant athlete, and you just don't want to second-guess this man at all.
No, you definitely don't. At 19 appearances and 10 first places.
Now, this next guy coming up, I'm not quite sure about what I have to think about him, but I think you've got some pretty serious thoughts about him as well. No, I'm just teasing. Next up, PM Gnedinger. And obviously, my expert and co-commentator here will be heartfelt to not cheer really hard for Pierman when he's on stage today. But you can see he also has plenty of skills to pay the bills here. And, you know, with a new family, well, at least being married now, he's got a few extra bills to pay, right?
That's right.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we now have our judges and our athletes ready to go. And that is a list of exceptional athletes ready to compete here in the Swiss Pro Champions 2022 in Weiach. We're looking forward to some great action here today. This is a big competition. There are 6 disciplines that these guys have to battle through in 3 different rounds. There is some eliminations going to be happening here, but before I start going on and on and on about it, let's just make it super simple and check out the competition format.
The STIHL TIMBERSPORTS individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
So 3 rounds of action coming your way. We're going to start the first round up shortly. And before we get going, last words before we hop into this one. What are your thoughts on today's action? Any bets?
No bets, but it's going to be an exciting competition. The wood is great, and the athletes are ready.
All right, good wood, great athletes, and a nice competition center and format. Here we go with our first discipline, underhand chop. Let's check out the tool and discipline that we'll be seeing on stage in the first discipline in round 1.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
Okay, so there's our start list for the underhand chop, and this is where it starts for the day. First discipline, first round. We have 3 disciplines in that first round, the underhand chop, which we'll have right now, then the stock saw, standing block chop, and then we'll cut off. As you saw from the format earlier on, we had 16 athletes in the list, but here competing today we have 12, so we'll cut off 4 athletes from the bottom, take 8 athletes to the next round, and then further on down the road, 6 athletes, and let's get the action underway with Martin Bervet and Robin Haas competing against each other, but more against the clock here in this first heat. And that's something that we should clarify. You might have a winner of the heat, but it's the fastest time that counts here to get the most points possible to move on to the next round. We'll also give you updates as we go throughout the competition about where the individual discipline standings are and how that affects the overall standings. It wasn't too long ago that Robin Haas was competing in the rookie ranks as well, I believe, eh?
That's right. I think this is his first season in the pros.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, first drivers for our pro competition are in the wood, and here we go with the first cuts and some nice chips coming off for both of these guys. Yolanda, you said the wood was pretty good. We should see some good times for these guys if things go well. And now we see Robin Haas moving over to the other side of his block ahead of Martin Bervet. Martin Bervet still working on that first side, thinking about going deeper perhaps. Not sure if that's a good plan for him or if he's just struggling with that first side. Robin Haas looking like he's close to being done. Just passing the 35-second mark here. Will he get through? No, he's going to get through in 36.65. But that's a great job by him to pull down a personal best.
He's definitely going to be pleased with that.
Bervet struggling here as he's coming up close to the 50-second mark. It should be there at 50.10. Also knocking a personal best out of the park for himself as well. So improvements there for both of these guys. Nice to see it. And obviously those times they want to see improve each time they step out onto the stage. And we'll get the official thumbs up for both of these guys if everything is okay. And then we'll have a quick slow-mo look back at this one for Yolanda to pick and peruse through.
Both get good.
So you can see here they were both pretty much the same time at the wood, which is a good sign. So they've been training using those countdowns that they have for us to make sure that we're ready when the go.
Just to clarify for the audience, when the go hits, when that actual go is there, if their axe is at or in the wood just after that, it's okay. It's not at the swing down, correct?
That's right. It's just the axe is not allowed to hit before that G of the go.
Okay, and that's why we have those times or those really, really fast, high-speed cameras to make sure that our competition control center has a clear view of everything that's happening out there. All right, so first heat is done and dusted. Underhand chop heat number 2 with David Bühler going up against Albert Klager. Albert came up on stage with a good amount of energy, so obviously he's hyped up for this competition here today. And you mentioned that he's quite a fun guy out there.
He sure is. So he's also an older competitor here, and he wants to make sure that he gets at least one time on that podium, getting up there.
Yeah, why not? David Bühler, personal best underhand chop, 26.68. If he can pull that off, he'll have the top spot here today for the moment. That is. He time to beat is 36.48 from Robin Haas. Albert Klager, his personal best 28.67.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
David Bühler taking a nice big backswing there. Looked like he was thinking about maybe swinging for left field, but he got right into it with some really nice cuts there. Wow, how accurate are those hits? Over to the other side quickly. David Bühler and Klager both on their second side now. Klager on the right-hand side of your screen from this view, looking very good on his second side as he's playing a good game of catch-up with David Bühler. But it looks like David Bühler might get through there first. He does with a 29.81. And Klager right there with a 30.27. So neither one of them taking a personal best down here, but some good respectable times, and both of them move up into the 1-2 positions on the underhand chop. David Bühler slightly faster than Albert, who is in second place at the moment. Robin Haas and Martin Berwert in third and fourth positions, both of them having personal bests.
Ladies and gentlemen, both get good.
All right, Schul Janssen, I can't read as well as Bart Janssen, so I'm going to have to learn his tells a little bit here first.
He's got more of that poker face.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's take a look back at the slow-mo replay as the team gets that stage ready for the next rounds.
So you can see the nails that are put into the block. So those are very important right by the pros because they got such hard hits that it is called for the slabbing rule, so that when they hit the log the first time, it doesn't take off a huge chunk of wood, so that they would have an advantage by the second round then.
Yeah, less to cut through on their second side, as well as a smaller foothold as well in some cases, which is also important. All right, so we've had our first couple of heats done and dusted here. So now you see what it's all about. And if you see in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, you can see our current rankings. And that is also our current overall rankings, as this is the first discipline in round one. Well, that'll change as we go along and as the faster athletes come out on stage, unless we have a couple of really slow runs from all of the rest of the guys. And yeah. Now, this is considered the original extreme sport from way back in the day. It all started with a $50 bet. Let's find out a little bit more about that.
Third woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering. This is Thomas losing the love to get to it.
All right, and as you saw from the runner along the bottom of the screen, you can find out more with the entire history clip on YouTube. Just give it a quick search and you'll find out about it. So, heat number 3 coming up with Thomas Gerber going up against David Knecht. David Knecht, not quite as fast by the tail of the tape as Thomas Gerber, but we've talked about that all day today, about how that doesn't necessarily always determine a winner.
No, it does not.
Thomas opting to go without the hat for his heat here. It's more of a style statement as he comes on stage. Now you can see he's putting some sort of a lube on there. Care to explain for the people out there that don't know what that's all about?
So no one really knows what's in it. Everybody has their own little mixture going on there.
Secret
That's
ingredients.
right. That is secret.
But it's about making sure that the axe doesn't get caught in the wood on those first drivers, correct?
You know, it lubricates it. Yep.
Axe lube. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Gerber, similar starting style there with a big backswing and gets in there nicely. David Knecht doing the same thing on the far side, but Gerber with a great speed on his axe. Knecht with some nice cuts. They both move to the other side exactly at the same time and get into the flow on their second side. Gerber looking very good here. Knecht keeping up with them. The two of these guys really battling hard to get through. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Gerber in 26.85 and Knecht just behind in a 29.814, excuse me, 29.14. Great heat between those two guys, and they were really going for it.
They sure were, and that's what I said. Got to watch out for Thomas. He's taken a break for 5 years, and he's back now, so he wants to show it.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately,
That motivation is definitely there.
Because of a false start. Stand 3, cuts good.
Oh, we have a DQ for Thomas on stand 1. That's a false start. Interesting, because I saw his swing back and swing up. They looked like they were well in time. I wouldn't mind seeing that in slow-mo again, so we have an opportunity to maybe check time. Let's have a look here.
Oh, yeah, he's very quick.
He was very quick, huh?
He's not going to be happy with that.
Anticipated that timing a little bit too much, and that is an unfortunate start for him. Thomas Gerber with a DQ, so he'll receive 0 points. So now, as an athlete, is that going to mess with his head, or is that going to push him and motivate him more for the next 2 disciplines in this first round?
If it were me, it's going to mess with my head. Depends on the athlete. Most athletes can just continue on like nothing was, but for most of them, it's kind of a downer.
You know, perhaps with his experience, he'll be able to take that and use it as motivation for the next
right.
round. So here we go with the underhand chop, heat number 4. Marcel Amann going up against Severin Bühler. Couple of good personal best times there, looking for some improvements for both of these guys. And obviously, you know that these athletes have all been taking a lot of time to make sure that they are peaking at exactly the right time of the year to make sure that they can do everything they need to do to be on top of that podium today. Severin Bühler, the reigning champion, he wants that back again. So this will be the start for him.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Bit of a stick by Amann right off the hop. Bühler gets into the flow right away. You can see Amann getting some nice drivers in there as well. Bühler going a little bit deeper as he switches to the other side. Wow, how many strokes is that now? 5, 6, 7 strokes ahead of Amann. Amann moving over to the other side. 8 strokes behind Bühler now as they race to get through the second side of their blocks. Bühler looking very good. Also motivated to try and maintain status as the national champion. And he is through in a 32.85. Amann struggling to get through that second. No, I wouldn't call it struggling. Actually, he gets through in a 37.22. So really not that far behind, 5 seconds off the pace. We'll take a look at that shortly when we get our standings after 4 heats.
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
All right, so official times are now posted, and you can see Amann 8.33 seconds off the time to beat of 28.70 set by David Knecht. And let's take a look back at the slow-mo here. Severin Bühler using that similar elbow back swing preface here.
That's right. Him and David, they train together, so you can kind of see the similar techniques there. So Marcel, he's lucky to be here. He actually only got informed that he could come because another athlete got injured and wasn't able to take part. So he's definitely happy just to even.
Most definitely, but you know you got to use those opportunities when they arise.
That's right.
And Severin Bühler doing a good job. Right now, middle of the pack in 4th place in the underhand chop. That's not necessarily the worst place to be, because he can come and keep working from that position. And, you know, it's not like he's not been here before as the reigning national champion. You can see the mini ranking here. Bühler sitting in 4th place, Robin Haas down there in 5th. The time to beat still with David Knecht with a 28.70. So the guys are at it, you know, they're in the mix, and Severin Bühler is right there. And like I was saying, it's not necessarily the worst place to be in. He's not at the bottom of the list, so he doesn't have to work as hard, but you know he's going to put in the effort in the next rounds. A lot of people ask about the wood that's being used on stage. Where does it come from? How's it prepared? Well, we're going to give you a little bit of a highlight about what that's all about right now in our premium wood clip.
STIHL TIMBERSPORTS is an international extreme sports competition series featuring 6 disciplines: 3 chopping and 3 sawing. We have a premier competition, we need premier wood. The biggest challenges that I face as part of my role is to ensure that our competitions are supplied with the highest quality wood.
Each individual tree is examined for its conformation before processing. We need to make it fair for all athletes. So we are selecting different sections of the trees to use for each of our specific disciplines.
Once the trees are felled, extracted and transported to our facilities, we measure, mark and then cut the wood into sized blocks. We then peel the blocks ready for competition. After careful selection, the blocks then leave our yard and are distributed internationally to our STIHL TIMBERSPORTS competitions.
All right, so moving on, our stage crew has done a great job once again to make sure that stage is ready to go for our next heats, replacing the 4 blocks at the front, and we'll move on to heat number 5. Cyril Papst going up against the young gun, Oli Reinhard. Now, Oli competed at the Rookie World Championships this year in June in Vienna. Managing to get, I believe he got 3rd place there, if I remember correctly. And this is his first appearance at a national championship. 2nd place in Vienna, by the way. So he is definitely one of those guys with high hopes for becoming the next national champion and representing Switzerland at the World.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Looked like a good even start by both Cyril and Oliver. Some nice big chips coming off of both of their block sets. Cyril right there, he's got some serious skills, but Oli Reinhardt's already on the other side of his block, working hard on that 2nd side. Got a little bit sticky there. Cyril Papst gingerly around to the other side, gains his balance and starts working on number 2. And it's Oli Reinhardt with the personal best, 22.53. Absolutely fantastic, blasting his previous personal best out of the water by 7 seconds. Absolutely amazing job by Reinhardt. Cyril Papst looking to find his way through that block 2nd side, struggling a little bit here as he gets that axe caught a few times. And he is well past his personal best here, unfortunately for him. Let's see what time will get him on 8th place in the overall standings at the moment with a 48.58. He'll be disappointed with that performance, absolutely. But Oli Reinhardt with a fantastic personal best, and they've adjusted that just now on our screens here with a 22.27. So absolutely brutalized his previous personal best.
It's unreal. He's
Ladies
definitely going to be happy with that.
Both kids are good.
I mean, he's such a strong kid, and he's got amazing skills, such a talent, and I can't imagine that he won't be national champion very, very soon.
That's right.
If not pushing it for today. Let's look back.
They're both very, very strong competitors, so you can see how that wood flies out when they come in there with the axe. And I say Cyril opened up pretty good on this side, but on the other side, we'll see it came together really tight, and that's when that axe starts to stick.
You want to have those nice wide angles on your cuts, yeah?
That's right. And with the wood the way it's been this year, that's kind of the technique that everybody's been going for, opening up a little bit wider.
All right, heat number 6 with a couple of legends. Christophe Geissler going up against Pirmin Gnedinger. Again, tail of the tape gives the advantage to Geissler. And he's been national champion, I don't know, what, 1,384 times?
Just about.
The guy's unbelievable. At 48 years of age, he's been one of the dominant Swiss athletes for so long. 10 times national pro champion. I was close with my number.
Very close, yeah.
But he is just unbelievable. I can't remember a national or an international event where I haven't seen him representing Switzerland. Pirmin Gnedinger, 26:59 personal best, but you guys have definitely been working on this, right?
Of course.
Of course. So I'm hoping, and I'm expecting big things from Pirmin here today against Christophe.
Athletes ready.
Changing of the guard.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start by both of them. Easy drivers in there. Christophe looking good as always, so accurate. Now look at this, he's picking up the pace. Pirmin doing the same thing on the other side. Switches over with a hop. Hey, that was sexy. He did that really quick. Onto the other side for both of them now working hard. Geissler looking good as he moves that axe quickly. How well is he doing? 22.75 for Christophe Geissler. Pirmin Gnedinger working on that second side, just passing the 30-second mark. Come on, buddy, let's get it through. And he's got it at 32.04. That puts him solidly in 5th place in the rankings right now after underhand chop. So that is all she wrote for underhand chop. We have our full scores in. We just need an official thumbs up from Schul Janssen to make sure these times are set in stone.
Ladies and gentlemen, both good to good.
Or should I say set in wood?
Set in wood, yes, that's right.
So what do you think about the performance of Pirmin here?
It could have been better.
Oh, rough. No dinner for Yolanda tonight. All right. So a great start by both of them here, though.
Yeah, they did start out very well. I think when we look at Pirmin's cut, he did change a little bit too quick. He should have maybe done one more round or just at least 2 more hits to drive, just so that he had a little bit less on the other side.
But I loved his change. I mean, he was Kermit the Frog hopping around to the other side.
That's right. That change is so crucial as well. You lose so many seconds if you're not quick at it.
All right, so here we have our discipline ranking for the underhand chop. Oli Reinhard with the time to beat there of 22:27, the fastest time of the day. Christophe Geissler, the 48-year-old, right behind him, 14 hundredths of a second back, and then David Knecht, followed by David Bühler. It's looking good, and that is going to be your overall standing as well. Excuse me, I just had a small brain moment there. So that's your overall standing after the first discipline. So what you saw there on that screen with Oli Reinhard at the top of the rankings is where we are in the overall as we get ready for our next discipline, and that is the stock saw. But before that, we often have a lot of people come up to us and say, hey, that's a lot of wood getting used up there. What are you doing with it all? Isn't that wasteful? Well, no, it's quite sustainably harvested, and we're going to find out more about that right now.
We at STIHL Timber Sports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this popular wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our STIHL competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests.
Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
So there you have it. Our wood is sustainably harvested. It is premium competition wood, so that you know everything that's happening on stage isn't necessarily wasteful just because we want to have a sports competition. It's all good in the wood, as they say. All right, coming up next, we have the stock saw, one of your favorites, I'm guessing, yes?
Used to be.
This is the saw that you're going to see on stage. It's the same saw that you can buy at any STIHL dealership. So before we jump into the next discipline of stock saw, let's find out a little bit about the tool and discipline.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark, one downward and one upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
So there we have our stock saw start list, our stock saw start list, not our stock saw start list. Stock saw start list, and you get a little bit of mix up in the order of guys that are competing against each other. That's going to happen throughout the day, but our first heat is Marcel Amann going up against Albert Kläger. So we'll get these guys going head to head. World record, by the way, 8.51 seconds. Unbelievably quick. National record 10:29. Stock saw, by the way, a world record held by Ole Magnus Huljeberget from Norway. He got that at the Nordic Pro Championships back in 2021. It's held so far. Maybe a record today. National record of 10:51. Did I read that right? Both of these guys having roughly 12-second personal best times.
Okay, warm up your saws.
Here we go. Now I know that the stock saw is not a cold start like the hot saw. Why do they run them before the competition, not just start them up, put them down and go?
Well, obviously any machine, it runs better when it's a little bit of warm.
Athletes
Less
ready.
damage happens, so that's why we also warm them up.
Okay, there you go, folks. Now we know.
1, go!
Amann on the left-hand side, Kläger on the right-hand side. Good start by both of these guys. It's a bit of a fat cookie for Amann there. He's got to be careful on that transition. Oh, he got close to the line, but looks pretty good on the upcut. Kläger a little bit faster with a time of 13.08, and Amann with a 13.95. So those guys solidly within range of each other. They kept consistent, both of them having similar personal bests and both of them cutting very close to the same times. Just a little bit slower, but with each other. Did that make any sense what I just said? Probably not, hey?
It sure did.
Thanks for that support. Appreciate it. All right, thumbs up by Schul Janssen. Both times count. No DQs so far here. And our first heats in the second discipline are locked and loaded.
So you see, there's also different ways of doing the stock saw event, of how you pick up that saw, how you come to the wood. Do you come to it at an angle with the saw? Do you place it straight on top? There's so many different options.
I noticed that Marcel Amann was quite heavy angle with his saw on the first cut there. Okay, next heat coming up. David Knecht against Thomas Gerber. Again, a couple of guys by the tail of the tape are pretty evenly matched up from size, from weight. Age, not so much, but that obviously doesn't play a role, as we saw Christophe Geissler absolutely destroy that underhand chop earlier on with what looked to be like faster cuts as he got along in the heat there. Interesting, Thomas Gerber cutting from the other side. Why?
It's just kind of a preference. It's like the single buck as well. It's and even with like all the axe disciplines, you can decide which side you start on.
I would understand the single buck is a left-right situation, though. Wouldn't that make a difference in the positioning on the block? I don't know. I mean, just trying to wrap my head around it. Or does he just want to show his back to the other guy as a form of, hey, I'm going to get you?
Maybe.
Okay, here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, very casual start by Thomas Gerber there as he picked it up and went for a slow first cut. David Knecht, on the other hand, not messing around as he's looking for a quick one there. And Gerber, unbelievably, has a 13:09 with that mega casual start and a 13:33 by David Knecht, excuse me. Was it weird or did I see something different there? Or?
That was really strange. Like it looked like he was really slow going about it, really casually.
Yeah.
But
well, you know what they say, relaxed is sometimes...
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
Stress-free can be
I don't
fast.
think he believes it either.
Yeah, but the adjustment of time, we've got 12.96 for Thomas Gerber and David Knecht with a 13.17. Ah, he grabbed onto the chain brake.
Oh, yeah, that placing of the saw is very important that doesn't happen because, again, you lose seconds there. And see him shaking his head.
Yeah.
But, hey,
but it
still worked.
It felt to me like after watching the replay, he almost grabbed the chain brake, but opted to get down to the handle without activating the chain brake.
Yeah.
Shook his head getting up there like, yeah, I'm not going to win this one. I'm just going to cut safe. But he actually was fast. So, yeah. Christophe Geissler and Oli Reinhard, both of these guys solid in this discipline. Obviously, Christophe Geissler with a heck of a lot more experience, having been in the sport for 3,311,000,000 years. Christophe Geissler is the man to watch at the moment because he had such a strong underhand chop. However, Oli Reinhard, this kid is skill, youth, vim and vigor, power, accuracy. He's got the full package.
He sure does.
The only thing he's missing is the modeling contract, which may well come still. Who knows? Some
Well,
guys have all the luck. But you know what they say, lucky to be good, good to be lucky.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber.
It's important, those fingers over the line.
2, 1,
Just
go.
thinking the same thing, and I noticed that Christophe Geissler still has that old school tick of holding on to the saw up to the last minute, even though they have the rubber pads there. Ooh, beautiful change by Geissler. Ah, but he's so close to the line. Both of them are. And another personal best with a 12:02. Geissler with a 12:07. The question is, did either one of them cut over the line? Holy smokes, folks, was that ever close? Oh, that would be really unfortunate if both of them cut over the line here, but it looks very, very close for Oli here.
Taking a closer look, huh?
Just a double check by Schul Janssen. Bart Janssen asked him to come over and have a double look here, and how he'll go up to the front and give us the information.
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
Whew, breathing a relief sigh in here. Oli Reinhard adjusted time officially now at 11.98. Locks another personal best into his wallet. So great job by Oli Reinhard for the moment. And Christophe Geissler just a hair faster with an 11.86. But Oli Reinhard with an 11.98 personal best. Listen to this again.
They're so quick to the saw and then to the wood, which is so important. And then that changeover.
You can see that really close line cut. And Geissler, I think, knew it as well as he started to angle that saw out towards the outside. All right, heat number 4. Pierman Gnedinger going up against Martin Berwert. A couple of big fellas getting ready to go. Pierman a little bit faster with an 11.48. Martin Berwert, a 12.43. Quite liking Pierman's hat. That's become a signature for him as well, hasn't it?
It sure has, yes.
You'll notice the guys are wearing chaps as well. It's protective chaps. This is a requirement for sawing disciplines for safety, correct?
That's right. Either chaps or pants. Either or will work. They just have to be the norms
Warm up
that
yourselves.
you have to have there.
Yeah, safety is a very, 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 very big deal for STIHL Timbersports, making sure that all these different safety standards are lived up to, because the machines and tools that they're using here are incredibly dangerous.
Ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start by both of them. I noticed that Pierman has dropped the motor down a little bit lower and is using the bar of the saw as more of a push. Berwert, ooh, he's got both of them have good cuts there. Gnadinger with a 12.25, Berwert with a 12.75. Not best times for them, but solid in the mix at the moment. Pierman Gnadinger sitting in third place. Stock saw Martin Berwert in fourth. And a small adjustment there in the time to make it official. Uh-oh, we have a cutout here as well. That is an incomplete cookie, folks, so that could well be a disqualification for
Stand 1, cuts good.
Thomas.
Stand 2, unfortunately, DQ,
Martin,
incomplete.
excuse me. Yep. So Martin Berwert gets the DQ and 0 points here for a cutout. That does happen from time to time. You don't see it very often with the pros because their accuracy is really good with these saws, but you know, that does happen, right?
It does happen, and that's the big problem. A lot of these guys work in the forest industries. They use the chainsaw regularly, so they train the other disciplines a little bit more than the stock saw, and this is the event that is easiest to train, but everyone does it.
Which is a bit unfortunate. And also notice that he got really close to that line on his upcut here. It was the first cookie. He could have theoretically gone back and made a third cut. It would have killed his time quite badly, but at least he wouldn't have had a DQ. But he didn't have a lot of room there on the top to make that last cut, did he?
That's right.
All right, next up, David Bühler going up against Cyril Papst.
So David is one to watch out for. He is an excellent sawyer with the stock saw.
He's also not that far off the national record, a personal best of 10.92 and the national record a 10.29. So there could theoretically be a national record here if David can cut a clean one. Think that's on his mind, or you think he's just thinking about 2 cookies on the deck and safe?
I think both are on his mind.
That's the neutral answer. Come on.
Okay, warm up yourselves. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start. Ooh, a bit of a hop there by David Bühler. And Cyril Papst struggling a little bit to find some grip as well. David had to reset a couple of times. Cyril Papst already on his upcut. He's got 2 thin cookies on the deck. Are they complete? And David Bühler with a 13.93. Papst with a personal best of 11.02, but those cookies were incredibly thin. So let's see if he's got a cutout in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
So Cyril Papst with 2 really nice thin-to-win cookies. David struggled a little bit on the setting of the saw. What happened there?
He did. We'll have to take a look at the slow-mo there. If he just nicked the top of the cookie of the block and then set it, noticed it, and had to reset. Can't get close enough there.
3 times.
3 times. Wow.
Wow, that's a time killer right there. Let's see. This is a better angle.
So yes, you could see he did nick the top corner there, like of the block, and then had to reset.
And he really overcompensated on that reset with a massively fat cookie.
Yeah, you got to make sure that it's complete. So if you do too close, the chance of it when it falls breaks out. If you don't find that piece to put it back together, it's a DQ.
This transition was quite nice, though, going on to the upcut.
I was definitely disappointed with that because he really is one of the better stock saw sawers.
All right, so last heat in the stock saw, heat number 6 coming up, with Robin Haas going up against Severin Bühler. This is Robin Haas's first appearance at a National Pro Championship, as you read there. So a little bit of the butterflies, a little bit of the nerves, but so far he's had pretty good performances. Underhand chop. He was, let's see, where was he? 8th in the underhand chop. And
Okay.
in stock saw, he's had
Warm up yourself.
opportunity to put in a good time. And if I look at the overall standings, Christophe Geissler and Oli Reinhard are tied. But Christophe Geissler would move to the top with 2 11-point runs there.
Stand to
So,
your timber.
let's see how that changes as things
3,
go by.
2, 1, go!
Severin Bühler with a great start to get into that wood. Christophe Haas, or Robin Haas, excuse me. That's a massive second cookie by Severin, though. Robin Haas trying to get through on a clean cut. He's got a clean cut, 13.38, but I think he's gone over the line at the bottom, which would be super disappointing. He might be lucky. I can still see some blue under there, but they're going to get down there and check really closely. Nope, looks like he's gone over the line. We'll get an official call from our judges shortly here. Schul and Bart Janssen both checking closely, making sure it's as fair as possible.
Yeah, so that blue line needs to go all the way around. Even if it's only a millimeter wide, it has to be continuous.
Yeah, it's hard for us from this camera angle and with the lighting to be able to see that. That's why the guys are in there checking very, very, very closely. So there's some grins going on back there, and Robin Haas is a little bit
Ladies
of
and gentlemen, both kids are good.
Oh, my
he's
goodness.
lucky.
So
Lucky
a
duck.
little breath of fresh air as they gave him the advance notice on stage there. Robin Haas with a 13.20, Severin Bühler with a 10.67. So let's go and look back at this slow-mo here, what happened with Robin.
So he just had a huge first cookie
That
that
is massive.
both his cookies ended up being so big.
And there he came really close. That transition swing was quite big by Robin Haas. Severin Bühler, that's a practiced hand right there, though.
That's right. He's also one of the better sawyers with the stock saw.
All right, let's take a look at the stock saw results now. And Severin Bühler at the top there with a 10.67, pushing Cyril Pabst, Christophe Geissler, and Oli Reinhard down to positions 2, 3, and 4. You can see the rest of the guys lining up just in behind them with one more discipline to go in this in the first round. And here in the overall standings, look at that. Oli Reinhard, Christophe Geissler in the top position with 21 points each. So if it came down to a tie at the end, it would be based on their fastest times in the individual heats, correct?
So overall time.
Overall fastest time. So right now, Oli Reinhard, the young man who just came out of the rookie ranks at the beginning of this season, is at the top of the overall standings with one more discipline to go in round 1. So he is in a good standing to actually continue on to the next round. But there's a lot of stuff still happening this year. The World Championship is coming up at the end of October, on the 28th and 29th of October. Just to give you a little bit of a feeling about what that's going to look like, take a look at these pictures right now. I've got my tickets, you've got your tickets. It's going to be an exciting time in Gothenburg, Sweden for the World Championships. In the meantime, we've got one more discipline to go in round one, and that is the standing block chop. Let's learn a little bit about the tool and discipline there.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
So our standing block lineup again mixed up a little bit. We see these heats lined up, 6 heats to go. After this discipline, ladies and gentlemen, we will remove 4 athletes from the overall standing. So only the top 8 will move on to the single buck and springboard round 2 disciplines. So it's really important now in the standing block chop to be consistent and fast. And David Bühler facing off against Marcel Amann. 2 absolutely different guys, 2 absolutely different times there. Tail of the tape. National record 17.44 seconds. The world record 11.03. That is crazy fast. David Bühler with a 30.52 standing block chop personal best, and Marcel Amann with a 41.15. So he's got a little bit of work cut out for him to catch up with David, but he's a young man and has an opportunity here to perhaps get himself a personal best. We talked about this in the rookies earlier on, and how the discipline needs to be really, really well practiced, so you have those drivers from down low coming up through the upcut with a really good angle.
To your timber.
You can explain this one through a little bit in this one.
2, 1,
why that's so important.
So you can see there, those first 2 hits, those are crucial, that you have that right angle so that when afterwards you come from the top, that wood chips out really nicely. So you can still see there's one piece hanging there by Meze Amann. And if you hit that afterwards with the axe, it can ruin your hit that you had wanted to do.
There's David Bühler moving over to the other side of his block ahead of Marcel Amann. Ooh, that chip flew at the cameraman. Hopefully he's okay. And, oh, look at that. David Bühler with a 34.3 personal best. And Marcel Amann may still get that personal best, although I don't think it's going to happen at this point. He needs to have, like, the miracle driver. Nope, not going to happen here as he gets past the 41-second mark by a stretch. So struggling a little bit on his second side. What could be the result of this, or the reason why?
It could be that he didn't open up enough on the back side, which he now has to struggle on this side for. He's also come to a point, so it's always hard when you're trying to put that axe in that point.
He's getting tired now, and he's got 20 seconds to get that thing done before a time discipline. And he does it, but that is a disappointing time for him with 1:13.76, well off his personal best mark. David Bühler, speaking of personal best, though, did get one with a 30.32.
So it's always nice to see the athletes that have been in the sport for a while getting a new personal best. It means that they have been training, because usually most of the time it's by the younger guys.
All right, so both count, both are good cuts. Mickey Vierlinge sneaks into our studio and tries to be quiet, but still is visible. And you can see back here, just looking at those drivers that you were talking about.
That's right, you can see the angles there. Those are so important. Because the flatter that you hit that block, it just literally vibrates. It doesn't make a dent into it.
You can actually see it sometimes too, as the block kind of rings like a bell a little bit.
You want to make sure that wood chips out and flies away so that you less wood to cut.
That final driver was quite nice, and I would almost venture a guess to say that that last driver was maybe a bit lucky, because that thing just sort of kipped off and fell over, and but nevertheless a 30.32 David Bühler personal best. And we move on to heat number 2 with Thomas Gerber going up against Robin Haas. So 6-time silver medalist, national pro champion. Hey, championship. That's a nice list of achievements to put on your resume for sure, as he lubes up his axe to make sure that those first couple of drivers don't get caught in there. Robin Haas, a personal best of 55.96. Let's see if he can make some improvements here today.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Gerber is a character.
Sure is, yes.
3, 2, 1, go!
So the rules state that the first driver has to be from the bottom, correct?
Bottom up, yes. Because the chances is that if you would do it from the top, that you would slip out. And this way you already have a bit of wood that comes out. Because you do not want those axes going into the dogs.
No. Or into the audience for that matter. Gerber coming close to cutting his through as he is well deep on his second side. Last driver should do it. 29.62 for Thomas Gerber. Robin Haas still working through on his second side, and you can see the staircase there as you mentioned it. I love the way that you called that one like a staircase. It's a perfect description, and got a personal best. A good job for Robin Haas with a 42.90, really obliterating his previous personal best of 55.96. So again, like you say, they've been working at it. They've got themselves improvements going on, and Robin Haas has definitely shown improvement. The next step for him is to try and improve on that accuracy.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
All right, so good cuts all around for Thomas Gerber and Robin Haas as they'll head down from the stage. Thomas Gerber, by the way, excuse me, has the time to beat so far of 29.39 as we take a look at the slow-mos here.
So you can see those big hard hits here from Thomas. He's quite the axeman. And here the staircase from Robin. So accuracy is so key. So if you don't have the strength or don't have that build with some of like the bigger guys, then accuracy and technique is really important.
It's all about technique. All of you young folks out there won't understand that little inside joke, but yeah, we are back in studio here. We have our first couple of heats done and dusted in the standing block chop. So now we're starting to see where the separation happens between these different athletes. Looking at the small ranking there, Thomas Gerber on top with a 29.39. So that's the time to beat for the moment, with Oli Reinhard right behind him in second place in the overall, or excuse me, David Bühler. We're looking at the overall rankings. I'm taking a look at the standing block rankings. And then Christophe Geissler sitting in third place. So now let's take a look at a clip about our supporting sponsor, Ford, and how they met up with TIMBERSPORTS. So, of course, big thank yous to our partners as we couldn't do these events without them, and of course they're present at all the events here, so if you're interested in checking more information out about them, come on by. In the meantime, we're moving on to our next heat in the standing block chop, heat number 3 with Martin Berwert and Cyril Papst.
Applaus für Sie, beide Weiach-Gebiet, die sich gerade vor und sehr verraten Augenlicht zurück.
So I'm going to say these two guys are pretty well balanced out as far as their size and everything is concerned, but if we look at their personal bests, Cyril Papst definitely has the advantage in the tail of the tape with a 22:12 personal best. I'd be curious to know how Martin Berwert feels the pressure about being on stage with Cyril in this case. Cyril, highly focused on the right-hand side of your stage, number 17 on his Legman number there.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Cyril getting right into it with some big, heavy drivers. Martin Berwert trying to get those chips out, like you say. Yolanda needing to get that wood out of the way. A little bit of a shortcut right there on that we just saw. And wow, Berwert's already on the other side of his block. There is no holding this man back today. Or Papst is on the other side of his block. Berwert now moving over to the other side of his. And Cyril looks like he's going to do this in no time flat. 25:54, not his personal best, but that does put him atop the standing block chop rankings as Martin Berwert tries to get through the second side of his. And again, that accuracy that you mentioned, so important. And that comes from time and experience and training, but he's got himself a personal best. So there you go. The time and training was there. He just, needs to take it to the next step, but he's got himself a personal best, and that's something we always like to see. Cyril Papst, grin on his face. Yep, I got that one done and dusted.
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
They'll both be happy with that.
3 personal bests so far, by the way, from David Bierer, Robin Haas, and Martin Berwert. Martin Berwert, just in that heat, has now the 4th fastest time in standing block chop. Let's take a look back at the slow-mo and pick it apart a little bit.
So you can see how quick Cyril is onto that block. That's key in training, to train with the go command so that you're ready when they say go.
And the frequency of hits as well is quite quick from Cyril.
I think Berwert had a little bit of a problem. You can see his block is split, so it's not that tight in the stand anymore. So there's always that vibration, and meaning his axe is not going into the wood as far as it should.
And each driver is just pushing the block more than it is cutting the block, so that made life a little bit harder for him. So that said, that means that because there was a split in the block, he still got a personal best time. It could theoretically have been that much faster if that block hadn't have split.
That's right.
So very good job by him, excellent. And we move on to our next heat with Albert Kläger going up against David Knecht. These two guys we saw earlier on stock saw against each other, and now again in standing block chop. And you can see just a quick sweep up was done on the stage to move some of those chips out of the way of the other blocks. So there's nothing worse than having one of those chips underfoot as you try to switch positions around the block onto the other side. We saw this at the World Championships in Liverpool a few years ago as a Canadian athlete stepped around his block, fell, got up, and still won the heat, which was an incredible thing
unreal.
to watch.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Albert Kläger on stand 1 starts off with a pretty sticky couple of lower hits there as he gets those chips hanging a little bit, and David Knecht really working hard on that first side. Got a big slab hanging there, so that should help him out a little bit. As he gets to the second side, that slab gets knocked off the block, so he's going to have less material to cut through on the backside, or at least less stuff in the way. And he should have a really good time here. 23:06, a fantastic time, in fact, by David Knecht, a personal best and the fastest time of the day. Albert Kläger struggling on that second side right now as he finally gets it dropped down in a 35:59. So a little bit slower than his personal best of 27:80. But David Knecht with a 22:84 personal best after adjustment, really doing well to best his personal time of formerly 25:29.
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
All right, so you can see the rush of people that comes on the stage just now as the team to change the blocks and clean the stage, and we'll take a slow-mo look back here while they're doing that.
So you can see where David Knecht, he changed over, and he also has a split in his log, and the top part fell off. So now he's just driving it thinking that he can knock it off, but maybe if he would have done one more chip from the bottom up, it would have been that much quicker.
So many tactical issues that you have to keep an eye on here. Unbelievable. Albert Klager also having a good run there, but not as fast as he would have liked to have had. Taking a look at the bottom right-hand side of your screen and the overall rankings now. Our last two heats have yet to go, and those two heats are where the guys that were in the top of the rankings before this round, they haven't chopped their wood yet, so you'll see that David Knecht has moved to the top of the overall rankings, and we're going to have the last two heats come on stage shortly. But one more thing before we move on, the guy that's going to win today, the Swiss champion, will be representing Switzerland at the World Championship in Gothenburg, Sweden. One more time, we just want to remind you, tickets are still available. Let's take one more look at the Gothenburg World Championship possibilities and the excitement that's going to be happening in Sweden.
Falls wir nicht anreisen an die Weltmeisterschaft in Göteborg, auch nicht mit Käfer betreibt, ist sicher ziemlich spannend zu schauen.
So we had a little bit of rain earlier on, but it just sprinkled for a few minutes, and the fans here stuck around. A few umbrellas popped up. A couple of people ran for shelter, but the sun came out. It's a glorious day right now. A little bit of wind to keep everybody cool. And the fans are enjoying some excellent STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Swiss Pro Championship action here as we go on to heat number 5 in standing block chop. Pierman Gnedinger going up against Severin Bühler. Pretty close on the tail of the tape as well.
They are.
No screaming in this one now, okay?
I can contain myself.
Severin Bühler there. Left-hand side of your stage. Pierman on the right-hand side. You can see the 15 on his leg band. Man, he is really studying that block. Is he talking to it in his head?
Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to ask him after.
He's telling the block you are going to die right now.
Ready. Stand
All right, here we
to
go.
your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Some big drivers. Pierman with a big chip that came off his block. Heavy breathing as he exhales through each driver. Bit of a stick there for him. Severin Bühler moved over to the other side of his block already. He was deep on that first side. Pierman still working to try and get a few more hits on his first side. Severin Bühler getting close to lopping the top off of that block. 3 more hits, maybe 2 more. Let's see. It's going to be 2 more and a 29.77 for Severin Bühler. Pierman moved over to the other side of his block. There's a lot of material in the way, though, that's kind of hanging on for dear life. And it looks like he's got a knot in there as well. That makes life a little bit more difficult. Oh, he's not going to be happy with this cut or this block at all.
Definitely not.
2 more drivers, 1 more should do it. There we go, 56-56 for Pierman. He's not liking that at all, and he'll have words for Bart Janssen, as Bart comes over, and he can also see that knot that's sort of in the middle of the block. Knots are really hard for you guys to deal with. It's just a hard area of wood that's just tough to get through, huh?
That's right, and there's always that chance that your axe is going to have a little bit of a damage on it if you hit that knot.
Yeah, I also saw Puman looking at the axe edge there, so hopefully there's no damage there, but that was a tough one for him. So Severin Bühler on the left-hand side of your stage there.
So he's got some really good hard hits.
Now I wonder here, it's you don't really see it from that one side. If he noticed that there was the knot in there, or if he could only see it when he got into the second side of his block. See right here, maybe we get a view of it.
Yeah, he probably did see it on the other side. You can see just a few fine points there in the wood where it is a bit higher there.
Severin knocking that off in a solid time of 29.69 seconds. David Knecht still with the time to beat, and we have one more heat to go. And that is going to be these two gentlemen, Christophe Geissler and Oli Reinhard, who are currently tied for, well, currently tied for points, but where they are in the overall standings, they have 21 points each. They should move up to the top two spots if they can have solid times here. 29.72 for Oli, though. He's going to really have to put pedal to the metal on this one, going up against Christophe Geissler, who has a personal best of 17.44. And I just look at this Christophe Geissler gentleman and say, well, you can't ever underestimate him at all.
No, you can't.
Will Oli Reinhard put another personal best down today? That would be a fantastic turn of events for him if he could do it.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oli opting for one up, one down, one up, one down. Plenty of power on that young man as he moves over to the other side after just 6 hits, I believe. And I can't imagine that he wouldn't have a personal best time here as that block is wiggling and waggling. And he's done it!
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God, he has obliterated his personal best again with an 18.91. Oh, fantastic for Oli Reinhard. That is amazing. That's the time of the day. Fastest time of the day by 3.93 seconds. Christophe Geissler struggling through on his second side with a 37.43, and that's going to change the overall standings significantly where Christophe Geissler is concerned. We're going to look back at this one here, but it looks good for both of these guys.
That is unreal.
Fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, both kids are good.
Wow.
Oli is on fire.
And they've adjusted Oli's personal best time to 19.04, so they added a little bit of time on there, but nevertheless, his previous personal best time was a 29.72. That is an absolutely impressive improvement by Oli Reinhard. And it's what I kept telling you, this kid has just got everything you need to be the best in the world at this discipline and these sports here. It's just fantastic. Like I said, the only thing that's missing is the modeling contract.
So you can see here, it looks like he didn't cut very much on the other side, but it was just enough. He was able to read that block so well that he knew he could do that switch and still get that time.
Unbelievable. I mean, the first side looks like a tragedy as far as accuracy is concerned, but the second side, it worked out for him perfectly. So that was an amazing cut for Oli Reinhard. He looked up there with that cheeky little grin. He's like, yep, I got myself a personal best and a good time. So far today, we've seen Oli Reinhard get personal best in every single discipline he's participated in. That puts him atop the standing block chop standings with 12 points. In a time of 19.04, a good 3.80 seconds faster than the next fastest time by David Knecht of 22.84, and then Cyril Pabst. And you can see Christophe Geissler well down in the standing block ranking in 8th, and that's going to affect his points drastically as well. As we look at the overall standings, Knecht and Reinhard stay in the top 2 spots. Oli Reinhard with 33 points atop the leaderboard after the first round. David Knecht in second place, tied with Christophe Geissler for third. So there is a big points change there. And what's going to happen now is we're going to see the top 8 athletes moving on to the next round. And I noticed that Pierman is in 8th place. So a breath of relief for you as well, as we see him moving on to the next round as well. So it's a little bit of a congratulations on your family side. Well done. And the 8 athletes that have made it through this first round in the top 8 spots are moving on to rounds number 2. All right, so we're moving on to the single buck.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
All right, so there we have our 8 remaining athletes moving on to rounds 2. Pierman Gnedinger will be going up against David Bühler, then Albert Kläger against Cyril Papp, Severin Bühler against Christophe Geissler, David Knecht, and Oli Reinhard in the positions 1 and 2 in the overall standings will go against each other in heat number 4. Take a look at those world records and season's best, pretty close to each other, just under 12 seconds. And the fans looking forward to some great single buck action. I noticed earlier on there was Team Pierman in the stands with the black shirts on, so they'll be happy to see him moving into the second round here as well. Uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, the whole bit, right?
That's right, everyone.
Everybody was here, so awesome. Personal best for Pierman, 14. And for David Bühler, a 20.38. And again, we talk about tail of the tape all day long today. Let's see how that balances out when we get on stage. National record, by the way, 13.20. So Pierman not that far off the record for Switzerland.
He is very close.
So the nickname for these tools that these guys will be using on stage, and I love this nickname so much, it's the Misery Whip. And it can make you miserable. If you want to get involved in the conversation, by the way, hashtag STIHL TIMBERSPORTS, or the other hashtag you can look for is hashtag KissMyAxe, A-X-E at the end. And just get involved in the conversation, post pictures, post videos, say hello, ask questions, whatever suits your fancy. But as I was saying, the Misery Whip, that 2-meter-long cross-cut saw, just a small angle change can stop that thing, and then you've got to fight to get it started again. And especially in competition speed, you want to keep it going and keep that flow happening, right?
Indeed, yes.
All right. And these competition saws, they are very, very expensive. You have to sharpen the teeth how often?
They say usually about 20 cuts and then you should send it back, but we keep it around a little bit longer.
Yeah, I don't think it's super cheap to sharpen those teeth either. I mean, they're laser cut, but then they still need to be sharpened to accommodate cutting the wood properly.
That's right, and there's a lot of teeth there to sharpen by hand.
Yeah, it's not like you can really do it by machine, otherwise it's not as accurate or clean, eh?
That's right. Production is about a week for one saw, start to finish.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start by both of these guys, Gnedinger and Bühler. Oh no, a huge chip came off really early for Pierman. David Bühler looking good as he's getting through there. That chip may cause a bit of a headspace problem for Pierman, but looks like he's got it lined up and he's still cutting well. David Bühler slowing down a bit towards the bottom of his cut at 21.96. Wow, that's got to be a mess right there with a huge chip coming off right off the top, basically right in half, and then having to reset the saw.
Yeah, so we always try to make the cookie big enough so that that doesn't happen, but depending on how the wood has grown, you never know. It can just fall off. Then you have to do it nice and slowly that you can keep going, or otherwise you need, if the sauce springs out, you have to pick it up and literally set it back on.
She's also mentioned that this is without a helper up there, so there's no wedge being placed in. So having a thinner cookie is advantageous so it doesn't bind on the saw as much, but then the risk is that happening, right?
That's right. So we'll take a look here and see if we can see what exactly happened, if it bound up or if it just from itself fell off.
Come on, I want the slow-mo from Pierman here. Let's watch.
So yeah, it started cracking from the center, and then just with his strength, the bending of the saw, it popped it off.
Yeah. That's a bit of a bummer because the time could have been pretty good for Pierman, but he's got a 25.75 after having to reset that. But the mental acuity to be able to just reset that and keep going, and right there at the bottom could have also been ugly, but the cuts were good, so it's official. A 21.74 time to beat with David Bühler at the top right now after one heat. Pierman in second place with a 25.75. Heat number 2 getting lined up with Albert Kläger and Cyril Papst. Now there are different manufacturers for these saws, and I've seen a couple of the women, or at least one of the women, as Juliana Einfalt, I think, has that saw with the shark.
The shark head at the front.
That's quite funny.
Yes.
I like it quite a lot. But there are manufacturers, quite a few of them, but the main ones are in Australia, are they not? ABT saws?
There are some. It's a little bit of an issue with those manufacturers.
Okay.
It's always, there's less and less. Saws are getting rarer and rarer. So the ones you got, you're not going to sell them or give them away.
No, hey? And how much do the weights differentiate between these various saws? Because I see some that are much thicker, taller, and some that are maybe a bit thinner from the height of the saw.
The weights aren't that
ready.
extreme different. It's more the length, which is then also giving more weight. It's not the thickness or the height that.
But the longer the saw as well, that's going to help or be a little bit harder to keep that angle square and really have a nice clean cut and keep that flow going. But Kläger and Papst both looking good here. Papst near the bottom of his cut. One more stroke should do it. 17.09, nice single buck for him. And Albert Kläger with a 21.40. Solid, breathing heavy, but that puts him in second place in the single buck. Good cut. Cyril Papst with a time to beat now. With adjustment, he's gone down to a 16.96. Albert Kläger with a 21.21. David Bühler with a 21.74. And we have Pierman Gnedinger with a 25.75.
Both kids are good.
All right, let's look back at these slow-mos here. Two different styles of start here as well.
That's right, depending on how far back you want to stand is how far your saw is in the wood. You got to make sure that that's more or less level so that it's not tipping to one side, especially the front side of the saw because of that weight being there and then catching it.
I always learn so much from you. Just not how many axes you have.
No. You can see here he's not quite using the whole saw, so we usually ask, you did buy the whole saw, didn't you? So why don't you use it?
Oh, that's cheeky. But I've seen it in the past where you see guys that are using the entire length of the saw really efficiently. They cut well, they cut fast, but there's also guys that have that short, choppy cut where they're only using about the middle 2/3 of the saw. That also seems to work, so it fits into the different styles, correct?
It definitely works. It's just, you can buy a shorter saw and pay less.
All right, next up in heat number 3, Severin Bühler going up against Christophe Geissler. Christophe Geissler is an absolute master in this discipline. Taking a look at his personal best time of 13.20. That is a pretty incredibly fast time. And as I said, you know, stayed relevant for the longest time, still in the mix here today as we move into round 2 where more points can be gained, and this is a discipline where he's absolutely the master.
So Christophe actually holds most of the national records for Switzerland.
Why am I not surprised?
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And right away, Christophe Geissler knuckles to tip, getting that axe or that saw moving, excuse me. But then he got a little bit of a hookup, but got restarted again. Severin Bühler doing the same thing, but not quite with the frequency of draw and push that Christophe Geissler has. And Christophe Geissler threw in 15.67, the fastest time of the day so far. Severin Bühler, the last couple of strokes have been a bit of a struggle for him as he got that saw bent, and oh, it looks like he might have hurt himself somewhere along the line. He's limping a little bit. I wonder what happened.
Looks like he might have gotten a cramp or something in his calf.
Hopefully he's okay. We do have the foam roller in here if he needs it, and can offer that to him. Severin. Slowest time so far of 25.75. He's really struggling on that left leg of his. I hope he's okay. And Christophe Geissler with the time to beat today with a 15.50. Yeah, it looks like it maybe just been a cramp there that happened. Let's see if we can mark the point where it might have happened to him. And Christophe right there, absolutely huge hookup, but then didn't seem to struggle too badly on restarting.
You can't see anything in the face expression there that he's injured, but right there, you saw that his foot slipped a little bit under. Maybe that could have been the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I tore a calf muscle a few years ago. That is a nightmare. So hopefully that's not the case, and only it was just a cramp or something, which is very possibly in that position down that low. You know, you get so tight sometimes and your muscle just locks up on you. Okay, next up, David Knecht going up against Oli Reinhard. We know that Oli is super solid in this discipline. You can see his personal best of 15.40, and the way it's been going for Oli today. Now, I don't want to jinx him, but I can't imagine him not walking away with a personal best in this discipline as well. No, I've done it, haven't I?
I think you might have. Let's hope not.
But let's see. I mean, he has been absolutely stellar today. So David doing a bit of measuring there. He's got the chalk ready to go. He's going to mark his lines to make sure that everything is exactly as he needs it. But he's not really doing anything with adjusting the saw. He's just placing it. And I noticed that Oli is another one of those guys sawing to our right.
We always tell him in training he's sawing backwards.
Last checks and placements of the saw. Oli looks to be more or less ready and just as relaxing on that handle.
It's important not to get into that stance right away so you don't cramp up once the go comes.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Notice that David putting a little bit of magnesium on his hands.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, both. Similar rhythms here as they get into their cuts. Oli looking very good here as we pass the 10-second mark, getting close to the bottom of that cut. This is looking pretty good for him, and he's got himself a 16:19. Okay, I did jinx him, no personal best, but still, the time is fantastic. He's just behind Christophe Geissler.
But look, David got a personal best, so that'll be good for him.
We'll let him have that one, absolutely. David Knecht with a 16:96, and that's the only personal best that we've seen in the single buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, both get good.
All right, so taking a look back at the slow-mos, you can see David Knecht on the far side really putting everything into that cut. He did a great job. The only personal best in the single buck goes to him with a 16.96, and Oli just a little bit slow on the bottom couple strokes there. I think he maybe lost a bit of juice.
Yeah, you can just see how the wood started to vibrate, so that makes it a little more difficult to saw through.
Yeah. All right, so that is our single buck done and dusted. We'll take a look at the ranking here really quickly with Christophe Geissler atop the single buck ranking. And David Knecht. That's the standing block chop ranking. We'll need the single buck ranking, guys. So we'll just change that ranking really quickly. Christophe Geissler is actually atop the single buck ranking. Then we have Oli Reinhard just behind him. So Christophe will cash in with 16 points here. Oli with 14 points. Cyril Pabst with 12 points. David Knecht also 12 points here. And then Albert Kleger, David Bierer, Severin Bühler, and Pierman Gnedinger in single buck. Wasn't the cut that Pierman wanted to have, obviously, but that's going to make a bit of a change in the overall rankings as well. Let's have a look at that here in a second, as we could see the stage getting set up, a bit of a sneak peek there of what the stage is going to look like for our springboard. So Oli Reinhard up at the top, a good 5 points lead over Christophe Geissler now with 47 points. Christophe Geissler 42 in second place. David Knecht in third place with 38 points. Cyril Pabst sitting there in fourth. And Severin Bühler in fifth place, in a bit of a tough position right now to try and repeat. But we have one more discipline in round two, and that is the springboard. And that can be a deciding factor for a lot of these guys, especially for a guy like Oli, who has some springboard experience. He had the world record for the springboard with one board, but I don't think that we've seen him yet do a two-board springboard, if I remember correctly. So this is going to be a big challenge for him.
Yes, definitely. He has done one in the qualifier for the Swiss Championships, but obviously that's just this year, so that's just 1 year of training, so we'll see how well he does on this discipline.
Yeah, this is also a discipline that requires a ton of experience, and that experience you can get in an event like the Rookie World Championships. Let's take a look at that really quickly and what happened there.
Welcome to the STIHL Timber Sports Rookie International World Championship. Right away, he gets in there with two nice big accurate strikes on that one side. That was a blistering set of heats from these two guys. Unbelievable. We're going to go to the next badass discipline. That is the stock saw. The side of his block. 4-stroke. Holy moly! Simon Grunwald has broken the world record here in Austria. Fantastic stuff. Wow.
Also Timbersport ist einfach ein super geiler Sport, den ich sehr, sehr gerne mache.
So speaking of rookies who are no longer rookies, Marcel Steinkemper is here with us in studio. We saw him in video film earlier on from the Rookie Academy earlier on. Now, Marcel, you have stepped out of the rookie ranks and are now competing at the pro level. You got 7th place at the Rookie World Championships in Austria. Tell us a little bit about that experience for you as your last rookie event.
Yeah, the Rookie World Championship was a big event, great audience, and just so big to compete on that high level. It was very awesome, and yeah, 7th place was not the one I was hoping for, but it was okay.
Okay, but from that event on, you moved on to the pro ranks, and we just saw you compete at the German Championships. You got 3rd place, just behind Danny. You made a statement right off the bat with a really, really good underhand chop, and it was more or less like, I think it was the underhand chop, it was more or less like, okay, I'm here to stay, and I know that you and Danny are friends and you train together, but obviously he's got a bit of a target on his back now with you coming at him hard from the background, let's say.
Yeah, of course. The young generation is coming up again, and like me, we are all very, very confident to get into the pros, and just post some good times. And yeah, in the underhand it went pretty good for me. Also in the springboard I got the fastest time, and I was pretty happy about it.
Now there's another guy that just jumped out of the rookie ranks on the international stage for you. That's going to be a guy you're competing with, but you were also at the Rookie Academy with Oli Reinhard. Talk a little bit about his progression and how that kind of parallels yours.
Yeah, Oli is a great guy. You see posting good times, and he's very fast, trains a lot, and he's a cool guy who knows a lot about the sport. And as you see, he gets very good in the pro division, and well, let's see where he plays today.
So now the stock saw, if I remember for you, wasn't so fantastic at the German Championship. What kind of things are going through your head as you're getting ready to cut and as you're making the cut and you see that something's gone wrong there and making the adjustments?
Yeah, the stock saw is always a lot of head thing, and you need to be 100% focused and know what to do, because almost everybody can saw 2 discs off the block, but no one. But if you want to do it really, really fast, and in Germany it's a pretty high level, all are close together in the stock saw, and yeah, it's very hard to get really, really good at it.
So now talking about the stock saw compared to the hot saw with that beast in hand, what's that thing like to handle? Because I mean, I lifted Danny's saw and it's heavy. I can't even imagine what it's like for you and the other competitors to be lifting that, cutting 3 cookies clean with that monster motor running. And this was, I think, your 2nd time actually cutting with the hot saw in Germany, right?
Yes, it was the 2nd time, and no, the 3rd time, excuse me. But yeah, it's pretty heavy, and when the motor is running, it's incredibly loud, as you see in the audience. And yeah, it's a great feeling. It's very, very difficult to get 3 complete discs because you only have 15 centimeters of space. So it's pretty hard, but it's a lot of fun.
So now we're going to be seeing you in Sweden competing with the German team in the Team World Championships. Do you already know what position you're going to be holding there, or is that pre-discussed with the team, or does that kind of depend on when you guys get there, you see the wood, you feel the wood, and you kind of make the decision, I think I'll be on underhand chop today, or maybe I'm going to be on standing block? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, we're going to train for our discipline, but you know, everybody can do everything good, because everything can happen on that day. Somebody could get ill or something. So you must really be prepared, but yeah, everyone's going to do his best discipline. For me, probably underhand chop.
Okay, now we've got the Nations Cup coming up tomorrow. You're going to be participating in there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a little bit of a team competition, the Nations Cup, but it's not exactly the same format as what we're going to be seeing at the World Championship. Discuss a little bit about this Nations Cup and what you can expect to see for the audience members that maybe haven't seen a Nations Cup before and might be joining us on the air tomorrow.
Yeah, the Nations Cup is a pretty cool thing because the rookies and the pros are going to work together as one team for Team Germany or Team Swiss, something like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they are training together maybe before of it, and the pros give some more tips for the rookies, so they do a lot better now, and yeah, to get into the ranking and maybe get the 1st place.
So this is a good opportunity for you to learn from some of the guys that have experience, but also to give some of your experience to the rookies that are going to be participating. It's a fantastic discipline, and we're going to get to take a quick look at the clip right now before we come back with Marcel.
A very warm welcome to the European Nations Cup. This is a very, very special event. Rumor has it, I'm a savage, drop the classic, thinking back.
Ziel ist immer Treppchenplatz, egal welchen Wettkampf man macht.
Team Sweden's goal is always the gold medal.
Got a mask, who was that? Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tired, tell them all. Big dreams, I got big dreams since like baby. I've been joining forces with the likes of an A-team.
Wir müssen natürlich jeder seine Leistung für sich bringen. Gewertet wird es als Team. Also müssen wir als Team stark sein. Ich denke mal, da sind wir ganz gut dieses Jahr aufgestellt.
All of my struggles became lessons well learned. I got desires that keep me grounded, that's for sure. Cause one day we gon' make it out this earth. Where's your worth? I'm sick of your talking, you got the wrong one. I'm taking your king and I leave him broken. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let them know. I'm the headline, the deadline. I'm ahead time, the red kind. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, big time.
After seeing that, no pressure whatsoever, hey?
No, of course not.
All right, well, listen, Marcel, thank you very much for joining us here today and giving us a little bit of insight. We wish you the best of luck and a ton of success down the road, and the future of STIHL Timber Sports in Germany is definitely fit right here, folks. Marcel Steinkemper. We also going to let you know that tickets are still available for the World Championships in Sweden and Gothenburg. If you want to get tickets, then keep an eye on this. There's some information there as well. And make sure you come by and join us. The atmosphere and vibe is like nothing you've ever experienced. So, of course, nice to have Marcel in the studio here with us. We just saw the World Championship teaser, so nothing to do with the ticketing. My fault, folks, but tickets are still available. Do a little bit of checking online, and you can find out where you can get them and everything. The European ranking is important for the World Championships. Let's take a look at where the European ranking is at the moment and see who we're going to see competing at those World Championships. Of course, Emil Hansen representing Sweden, having just won the Nordic Championships there. Armin Kugler will be in the mix with Danny Martin, Pierre Puy-Barré from France, Arkadiusz Drozdek from Poland, Michel Delpine, Glenn Pendlington from England, and Fabian Sonsteby will be in the mix as well. We're hoping for a Swiss athlete today. I'm guessing
we sure are hoping
we're
for
going to
that.
be throwing some darts out there at this point as to who it might be, whether it's going to be Christophe Geissler, or if it's going to be Oli Reinhard, or if somebody completely different will be in the mix. There's still a little bit more actions coming up here. Coming up now, though, is the springboard. Now, the springboard, as you know, is such a finicky, crazy discipline. There's so many things that have to happen for it to go perfectly. You have to have good pockets, you have to have good boards, and you have to have a good block, like you would say a melon on top, to have a really quick time. The world record for this discipline was an incredible time of under 40 seconds. I'm not going to tell you the time, mainly because I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, but it was set by a Canadian, Sterling Hart, in 2016 in Stuttgart, Germany. Let's take a look at that world record right now and look at what these guys have in front of them in order to beat that world record, which was near perfect conditions.
3, 2, 1, go!
I don't know what to say about that discipline and that world record, 35.67 by a Canadian. That's all right by me. Sterling Hart doing well. That was an incredible record. I mean, you've been around the sport for quite some time. It's been a long time since we've seen anybody before that or after that come that close. Do you think that's something that's going to be broken in the next couple of years?
I don't know. It's going to be very tough. I was there, and that atmosphere, the roof was off the house.
It was. It was like the roof was on fire in that case, and Sterling Hart absolutely destroyed the previous record. So that said, let's check out this discipline that's coming up here in rounds number 2, discipline number 2, springboard.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27 centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
All right, so there we are. Our same 8 gentlemen that we saw earlier on with the single buck now move on to springboard, mixed up again a little bit. This time Pirmin Gnedinger going up against David Bierer, then Albert Kläger against Cyril Papp, Severin Bühler against Christophe Geissler, and David Knecht against Oli Reinhard. This is really where the marbles get shaken up a little bit, because the springboard can enhance your time or it can destroy your time. And we're only taking 6 athletes into the hot saw after this discipline is done and dusted. So we have 4 heats ahead of us where they guys have to get fantastic times in order to move on, right?
That's right. They gotta bring their A game.
Yeah, they got to bring their A, B, and C game, including maybe a little bit of the Z game. I mean, they have to be on point here. And we'll explain a little bit about why and what and where and how as we move along. But just know this. You guys have to cut really good, quick pockets, get that first board in. The first board is important to get there fast, but it's not as important as getting that second pocket quickly in and clean so that you've got a good board angle for your second board to make sure that you can really put the power into that top block, if I'm right here.
That's right. That second board is so crucial because that is the one that you're going to be on the longest. It has to hold, and you want to be able to stand on it so that you can use all of your strength. If it's starting to sag and you're up right against the log, you just can't do your full
and
potential.
You're choking up on the handle of the axe. You don't have as much power, so we'll keep a close eye on this first heat. A little bit of pressure there for Pirmin and for David because they're the first guys out in this discipline, and there is just a lot going on with this discipline. So many things need to happen exactly right for you, even to have a halfway decent time. And as you saw from that World Championship clip with Sterling Hart getting that incredible 35.67, everything just went perfectly. 2 times 4 hit pockets, perfectly placed boards, and a melon on that top of the block was just, it was the perfect storm for him in that case.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, that looks like a nice pocket from Pirmin right away. He gets that board set and he is up. Obviously, you've been working on this quite a bit, hey?
I guess so.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you guess? You don't know? What's going on over here?
We don't always train together.
He had a good 4-hit pocket to get that first board set, and now both of these guys are kind of trying to find the rhythm in that second pocket. It's Bierer setting that second board, but he's got a bit of sag. Now, Pirmin, he's got a great second board. That angle is fantastic, although I'm kind of questioning his foot positioning here. I would figure he'd want to go with a little bit more of a wide foot stance, knees out, and put a little more power into those drivers.
I think maybe it's just a bit too steep for him because he is a tall guy.
Yes, he is. That's true. So he would more rather have a board that Bierer has at the moment, parallel to the ground.
That's right. But he did have to get back off and recut that pocket to get that board in.
He did, yeah? That's
definitely lost some time there.
So we can see Pirmin now going quite deep on his first side of the block, and that is with a purpose because when you switch to the other side, you want to have less material to go through the backside on this awkward cut. You can also see he's choked up quite significantly on the axe to try and get through the back of that as quick as possible. Let's see if he can best his personal best time. That's not going to happen, but he's got to get through there in under 2 minutes 30, so he should be able to do that here, but this backside is really causing him problems as he keeps getting stuck. Now we got it. It's down in 134.60. So right now, that is the time to beat in the springboard as David Bühler tries to get through the second side of his block. And he seems like he's there. 1-2 more hits should do it, and there he goes with a 150.66. And that's a bit of a struggle for these guys, especially after setting those pockets and getting up top, and there's a lot of climbing involved by the time you're up there. I mean, just watching them, I'm winded, and then they've got to cut a block at the top. It's, like I said, incredible amount of stuff that's going on here for these athletes.
This is definitely one of the hardest disciplines for the athletes to do, especially also after already doing 4.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Okay, so we've got clean cuts for both of these guys, and this is a moment where they both say, thank God that's done.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look back here at the slow-mo, and I'm really curious. I'm pretty sure Pierman had a 4-hit pocket there.
I think so, too.
Yeah, that's 4 hits.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful pocket there. Now that's the board that he wanted to have up top, actually, the one that he's standing on right now. But even that board, it looked like he was a little bit on that, you know, both knees towards the stand. We'll have to ask him about that afterwards when he comes by to give me a slap for teasing him the whole day.
That's right.
And you can see here, David Bühler just getting started as Pierman is a good, I would say, halfway through his deep first side cut. Now, you being in his position, would you cut that a bit more open, a bit deeper?
He can't go any deeper because he's already at that point. So he would have had to have opened it up a little bit more.
Okay.
But where you can see, they usually only mark 2 lines, where the bottom and where the top is. They don't mark the wood, like the standing or the underhand, where you have literally the lines you want to follow. Because depending on how you go up the tree, you may be a bit more left or a little bit more right. It's a lot more, it's easier just to put 2 lines. That's your top, that's your bottom. You don't want to get into the nails.
All right. So just being a little bit more open would have maybe helped on the backside, and still would have been enough to hold on to the backside, because theoretically speaking, you can go super deep and do 1 hit on the backside and you've cut from both sides.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, next heat coming up, Albert Kleger getting himself set up will be going up against Cyril Papst. You can see his personal best for springboard is 141.80. So if he can get that or a little bit better, he'll be in between Pierman and David at the moment. Cyril, a 113.18. And as always, these guys are always looking to improve these times.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Got quite a big pocket going on there. It's got to recut.
That's a heavy angle there. Hopefully on the first board it's not going to be such an issue, but yeah, he made the decision to get in there, and Cyril Papst is now setting his second board. Kleger still checking his pocket, making sure he's got his pocket. Cyril Papst had to reposition his board really quickly. It looks like he might have a bit of sag. From this angle, it's hard to tell if he's parallel to the ground or if he's got a bit of up angle. Can't really tell, so we'll sneak a peek out the door. No, he's looking pretty parallel to the ground. That's about as perfect a board as you can get.
Oh no, Albert Kleger, his board did not hold, so he has to get back up there.
And that's a dangerous situation as well, because he's got to get back up, check that pocket to make sure that it's going to hold the board, and that's a critical point for him, and that's going to cost him a mega amount of time. Cyril Papst going deep on the first side now. Foot position change and angle on the axe change, and gets through on the backside. Could be that we're going to have, well, not a personal best maybe, as he's just passing the 13-second mark here, but he's pretty close to it with a 1:15.53. So Cyril Papst with the fastest time so far in springboard, and jumps down like a cat to be done with the discipline. Now the trouble for Kleger is the time. He needs to be within 2 minutes 30 if I'm correct. Otherwise, it will be a DQ for exceeding the time.
So look at that crowd helping him out.
Yeah, they're getting right into it. They know that he needs a little bit of support, a little bit of energy. So nearing the 2 minute mark, that means he's got 30 seconds to finish this off, less than if he wants to be with a time that counts and get some points on the European ranking as well as here in the event, but it's going to be a tough job for him. He's choking up a bit on the axe. He's quite close to the block. Now he's moved over to the other side. But the time is running out on him big time. It's very, very close to being the end. Can he do it? Nope. He's not going to be able to do it. Oh, that is going to be a gutted situation for him. They'll let him keep going. The only time they'll finish it off is when they think that he's not safe anymore, but they let him finish the cut. Unfortunately, that's going to be a disqualification for exceeding the time limit. And these time limits are obviously set so that, you know, we're not watching an athlete cut for an hour and a half and, you know, really have problems. And we got the La Ola going on out there in the audience, courtesy of Albert Kläger. So a DQ for him on the stand there because he was out of time. Unfortunate, but it did happen. And more than that, he's lucky that that board came out. He went straight down to the ground. Lucky he didn't have his axe in hand.
That's right. So he had already put his axe up, but it'll be interesting to watch in the slow-mo what actually happened. Was it by when he went up onto the board, or was he already up there and then it fell out?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. So we'll take a look back at the slow-mo here. So these first pockets were quite okay for the guys. Cyril was just a little bit faster getting that pocket. I think he was maybe 6 hits to get that pocket set.
So he's got quite a big pocket going on up there for the second board. So that's probably why it didn't hold.
He also
got a little bit of step in there. So that is really... there we go. So
he wasn't on the board,
no,
luckily.
Thank goodness.
So he saw the board come out and then jumped down to get it.
Yeah, he was putting weight on it, see if it would hold, but he just had that little step in there, and that's so crucial to have that out, because with the way that the boards are formed, it will literally break that out and the board will not hold.
Yeah, I mean, that metal tooth has got a job to hook into the wood that's there, but if there's something under it that doesn't allow that hook to happen, then it will fall out, right?
That's right.
All right, so for Albert Kläger, that's an unfortunate disqualification after 2 minutes and 30 of the time over exceeded. But for Cyril Papst, 1:15.28 is enough to put him in the top spot of the springboard rankings. As we look at the ranking on the screen, Cyril Papst with that moves to the top in the overall. Oli Reinhard with a 47th in second place with Christophe Geissler, David Knecht and David Bühler in the remaining 5 spots there. But let's not forget, the other guys have not cut yet. So we'll see how that changes things as we go along. All right, so let's take a look now. I need a reminder as to what we're going on to. The upcoming live streams. Yes, there's a ton of stuff. Look at that season right there. So VOD, video on demand, for the Nordic Pro Championships from Stenkullen in Sweden, just outside of where we're going to be competing at the World Championships in Gothenburg. 4th of September, the German Pro Championships was in Wernigerode. That's also on demand at the moment. The Swiss Rookie Cup from yesterday is back on video on demand. We were live yesterday, today, that was this morning, excuse me, my days are all discombobulated. And we are now into the Swiss Pro Championships. Tomorrow, we'll have the live stream of the European Nations Rookie Cup and Pro Cup. They mix together for points to have the overall nation winner. And then on the 17th of September, we have the Australian Rookie Championships and the Pro Championships from the Gold Coast of Australia. That's also via live stream. And then the team and individual world championships coming up in Gothenburg, Sweden on the 28th and 29th of October. Full details, you can visit data.stihl-timbersports.com for all the information. You can also see the various records that are there. You can have a look at the different athletes from the different sports and the different levels. And, you know, we've got a great crowd here today. You've never really experienced the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS until you've experienced it live, and especially at a World Championship event. Whether it be the individual or the World Trophy, you just have to experience that vibe and that experience for yourself in person. And here's a little bit what it looks like to get you maybe a bit amped up for it.
It comes down to Nick Argent and Shane Jordan battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night in the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and, yeah, the competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit. Is it going to be the Czech Republic? And the crowd goes bananas. It's absolutely extreme here. Man hört's.
Commercial now.
There's only ever two you meet. One who keeps things nice and neat. Silence is their quiet treat. And under every rug they sweep, steering clear of conflict's heat. Then there is a different beast, marching to a savage beat. Takes the sour with the sweet, never takes the path of least. Company that few can keep, followers left in dusty heaps. Wide awake among the sheep, unafraid to bare their teeth. They take the old way and break it, beat it. These ones leave the rules in pieces. The next generation Ford Ranger Raptor, coming soon.
Ja, vielen Dank für die Geduld. Es ist wieder umgebaut. Danke, dass ihr uns auch
I don't know which I want more, the Raptor or the new Bronco that's going to be coming out in the near future. Hey, both are pretty sexy vehicles, I got to tell you.
They sure are.
All right, so next up, heat number 3 of 4 in the springboard. And that's going to be Severin Bühler going up against Christophe Geissler. Now, talking about tail of the tape all day long today, Christophe Geissler, so far the only guy with a personal best under a minute. So the question is, can he pull it off the way things have been going today? Severin Bühler focused. making sure he's ready to go. You always see Christophe Geissler with such a serious look on his face, and you think,
Athletes ready.
I want to talk to him. He's a very nice guy.
Timber.
You have to be able to
Very
speak
nice.
French, but
Yes.
2, 1, go!
Wow. Great pocket by Bühler. 4 hits. Christophe Geissler, 6 hits, getting that first one in position. Quick adjustments there. Oh, that board came out, so not such a great pocket. I spoke too soon. Christophe Geissler with the advantage now, getting that second pocket set here. Let's see if he needs a couple more drivers. Yeah, he's at 7 hits so far for that pocket, counting up now 8, and Bühler's just really having problems setting that first pocket. There's something going on there. Sometimes it could be headspace, sometimes it's seriously something that's just stuck in there that's not allowing that block to get fixed in position, and Geissler is now on the top block. There's no chance that he is going to beat his personal best time unless he's got the magic laser sword to cut through that thing, but now he seems to have gotten his rhythm, but then he got out of rhythm by getting stuck again, and he stepped forward on the board, so he's not grabbing that axe all the way really at the bottom with full power. Bühler finally joining him up on the top block there, but that's going to be a tough job for Severin Bühler at the moment as Christophe Geissler has moved over to the other side of his block. Time to beat right now, 1:15.28. And Christophe Geissler drops the top block in 1:18.86, so way off his usual pace. And Bühler now has the dirty job of trying to get through that block in under 2 minutes 30. He's pretty deep on that first side, so it looks like he should have no problem doing it. He just has to be careful that he doesn't drop that thing off with the first set of cuts, and he's going to switch sides now and go through the backside. Should be, I thought it would be only 3 or 4 drivers to get through the backside there because of that thin line that he's got, but there's more to it. And it was like 6 drivers to get it done in 1:51.59. So, whew. Wiping a bit of sweat off our foreheads here after that one. He really struggled on that first pocket, but once he was up there and got that second pocket set, he was doing well.
He is a very good axeman, but it's those pockets.
Yeah, that is the crux of the thing. Getting those pockets set correctly and quickly is really the end all of this one. If you can get 4 hit pockets and get up there and start really working, then you're having the huge advantage.
Ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
All right, so only 1 DQ so far from Albert Klager by virtue of his board coming out completely. He had to go down, retrieve the board, reset the pocket, and put the board in place. Unfortunately for him, that's the reason for the DQ, as we had the slow-mos here between Christophe Geissler and Severin Bühler.
You see it's a little bit on an angle. Oh, and he slipped. So that extra weight from him slipping on pushed it down all that much more.
Yeah, and he had to take it out, completely reset the pocket. And you can see here Christophe Geissler had his first pocket. It took him about 7 hits to get that pocket in position. And it came down again. He was on the board trying to set his set his second pocket, and it came down completely. So luckily that happened on the lower board and not the upper board.
Yes.
And that's got to mess with your headspace as well, knowing that Christophe Geissler is already working the top block, but he's just got to calm down, get on that top board, and work the block. And yeah, he did it. I love that fighting spirit, though. Never give up. All right, so this is our final heat here in round 2 with Oli Reinhard going up against David Knecht. These two guys battling hard for the top spot in the overall standings here today. Will one of these guys become the Swiss champion, or will somebody sneak in from behind and take it from them? Right now, though, if we look at their times, Oli Reinhard with a 1:25 and change personal best, going up against David Knecht with a 1:22.80 personal best. Oli hopefully will have put in the time to practice this and really get this discipline locked down. You could see him with his eyes closed briefly there, visualizing a good time. And you mentioned you think this will be his second time doing springboard with 2 boards, right?
Yes, in an official still competition.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the guys are going to train that off, but I'm speaking of just in competition format, because that's where, you know...
That's where it counts.
That's where it counts. So, in order for Oli to keep his standing here, he's got to have a time that's a bit better than 1:18.71. Let's see if he can pull it off.
3, 2, 1, go!
Four-hit pocket for Oli, 5-4, connect at the moment. Oh, Connect's axe came out as he was using it to try and climb up. Oli already setting his second pocket there. That's looking like about 6-7 hits so far for his second pocket. Connect is now working to get his second pocket set. Oli's pocket is there. Is it good enough as he puts his board in place? That's going to sag a bit. Hopefully it doesn't mess with his head too much. He does have a bit of downward sag, but he doesn't seem too bothered by it as he starts working on that top block. Connect, on the other hand, has a really solid board, and he has the opportunity to push more power off that back leg. But we know that Oli has a lot of strength in his upper body. And David is doing a great job on that first side, slabbing out some nice pieces. Oliver Reinhard pretty clean on that side as well. And he's getting close to the minute mark as working on the backside with that odd angle. Is he going to get there? Looks like he might have an okay time here. He's got a huge slab that's fallen off the backside.
Wow.
And Oli's done it again. Oli Reinhard with another personal best. 1:08.13, the fastest time of the day. David Knecht does the same thing. A personal best of 1:13.35. These two guys have been pushing each other all day long. Fantastic personal best in springboard, and Oli Reinhard just continues to impress all day long. Unbelievable.
Unreal.
And now he's going to have some fun with the Swiss crowd, and why not? Unbelievable. What an effort by Oliver Reinhard. 16 points in the bank, and that is going to make some big adjustments. So now he's having some discussions with Bart Janssen at the moment. Hopefully there's no DQ there. I wonder what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what the...
It looks like there might actually be a DQ. Oh, I hope not. Let's see here.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this side are good. Unfortunately, on this side we have a disqualification because the first hit should be an up hit and his wasn't down hit.
Oh no.
Oh. On the top block, the first hit has to be an upward stroke. Oh no. That's terrible. Oh my God, I'm heartbroken for Oli after that effort. Fantastic effort for Oliver Reinhard. Let's take a look back at the slow-mos here. This first pocket for Oliver was 4 hits. For David Knecht, it was about 6.
Wow, look at that.
So for David, on his second pocket, it was about 6 hits as well. He stays consistent there. Oliver Reinhard gets onto that top board. Let's see what happens here. Ah, there's the down hit. That first hit has to be an up hit. Oh my God. That's an experience thing though, isn't it?
Yes, it must be.
Oh.
He trains with us, but I never saw him train springboard, so I don't know if he was maybe training it that way, which doesn't really make sense.
No, that's not at all, but that is heartbreaking for Oliver Reinhard. Springboard, David Knecht with the personal best of 1:13.10 wins the springboard heats here with the fastest time. That DQ by Oliver means that he's going to have 0 points, and that means he's going to drop down the overall ranking leaderboard significantly. The question is, where is that going to put him? Let's have a look at the overall rankings here and the changes that that's going to create after springboard as we head to the last event. So David Knecht right there on top, 54 points, tied with Christophe Geissler. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Cyril Papst in third place. Oli Reinhard drops down from first to fourth place, so he still gets into the hot saw, as we'll take the top 6 athletes into hot saw. Severin Bühler and David Bierer will move on to hot saw. Unfortunately, Pirmin Gnediger and Albert Kläger will not be seen in the hot saw today. I'm really sorry about that for you, Yolanda, but that's the way the sport goes.
That's right.
Wow, though, what an unbelievable turn of events for Oliver Reinhardt. The DQ after we saw such a fantastic time, and only by virtue of one direction problem. That's heartbreaking. It's really too bad. But
it'll never happen again, I can tell you that.
yeah, guaranteed. You know, Ollie's going to go back and he's going to be slapping himself silly, going, how could I do that, you know? Maybe he didn't really know. Maybe he just really didn't know. Maybe it was just a faux pas upstairs, who knows? But it's an unfortunate situation for Oliver, and he drops down the leaderboard from the top spot to fourth, but he still has an opportunity here in the hot saw, which really is the discipline that can make or break you in the final. All right, so one more time, the World Championship is coming up at the end of October, on the 28th and 29th of October. Let's have a quick look at what you can expect to see in Gothenburg, Sweden. Okay, so the World Championship in individual and team will be coming up soon. And as you saw, the Partille Arena in Gothenburg, Sweden is usually home to handball, but will be home to a bunch of crazy axemen and sawyers.
Oh, yeah.
And that is going to be madness, because it's the first time as well that the World Championship will be held in Sweden. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be super, super exciting. Now, I wanted to ask you, any surprises with who's making it into the hot saw here? Any guys that are out that you kind of go, oh, that's a bit interesting?
No, not really. I was expecting all of these guys to be in there. Obviously,
the usual suspects.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, for me, the big surprise was the DQ of Oli Reinhard, obviously, in the springboard. That's heartbreaking for him, but he still has an opportunity here in the hot saw, where 18 points is the possible score that you can get for being the top or fastest hot sawyer here. We know that the fastest times in hot saw are absolutely insane. The thing here is to make sure that you've got that saw running clean. You get 3 clean cookies, and we're going to hear it shortly. A couple of the hot saws will be tested in the background. It's going to get really, really loud here for the local folks that are watching, and especially for the dogs that are in the house. Looking at the list of the guys that's going into the hot saw here, you know, we've got David Bierer, Cyril Papst, Oli Reinhard, Severin Bühler, Christophe Geissler, David Knecht. Now we know Christophe Geissler, he's an old hand at this. It should be no problem for him to cut clean and easy, but what's going to be going through his mind, in your guesstimate, that might not be going through the other guys' minds, and, you know, how is that going to affect his performance here today?
So for Christophe, I think it's a regular day at work. I don't think that he gets that nervous about the hot saw. He's got so much experience where an Oli Reinhard does not have. So I think by the young guys, there's going to be a lot more going through their head. Do I do just a safety cut? Do I do quick? Do I give it all and maybe get another DQ?
But at this point in time, I would say the nothing to lose mentality is what we're going to be seeing out of these guys more than anything, right? because this really is the discipline that could make or break a day for these guys. And they've been working hard all day long, from the very start of the day with the underhand chop and then the single buck and standing block and everything that's been going on all day long. This is the one that's going to end their day, and it is the maker or the breaker.
This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but yeah, also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the decider.
Timber.
Hot saw, hot saw.
Like I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy, relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Ebner, 3 on the deck.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Fortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
Oh no.
Irgendwie soll es einfach nicht sein. Und dann springt die Hot Saw nicht an, wieder mal.
Oh man, that is a bummer for Robert Ebner.
What are you taking away from this event?
Oh, probably last place. I don't know, headache. Yeah, shit hot saw. What else do you want?
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's part, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster, the chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
It's a bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Nice safe cut.
Oh no! Oh no!
Never prepared for that situation, but luckily I started and I got 3 wheels and now I'm the world champion.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love it and you hate it.
Das ist eigentlich immer ein geiles Ding. Ich schneide immer sehr sicher.
Oh, great start for both of these guys. Look at how quick it's going for Robert Ebner. Oh my God, Robert Ebner, he's got a world record. Holy smokes, folks.
Ich wollte das Ding heimbringen, ich wollte Weltrekord schneiden und ich danke meiner Familie zu Hause und alle, die mich unterstützt haben.
Just try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all won, so that's the best event.
Some guys might argue it's not the best event. There are a few guys that don't like the hot sauce so much, and it's a love-hate, where mostly it's hate. Yeah. But it is the last event. It is the one that they have to manage to get through in the fastest time. 3 cookies on the deck. And as we've seen with the stock saw, getting 2 cookies clean with the stock saw can sometimes be difficult on a very light and agile machine. And when you're dealing with these 80 cubic centimeter monsters that are tuned for power, 250 kilometer speeds on the chains, I mean, you got to be able to control that thing while it's in motion and have 3 cookies on the deck that are clean inside this 15 centimeter line. There's a lot going on here. It was mentioned to me earlier, the maker or breaker for Oli Reinhard might have been the springboard. I really hope not. I would love to see Oli Reinhard on that podium today. But as you mentioned earlier, Yolanda, Christophe Geissler has so much experience, and right now he is just dealing with that experience and sitting there calmly knowing, okay, I just have to do my thing, where as somebody like Oli, who's had a fantastic day all day long today, has now a situation where it's all or nothing. So he's got to throw caution to the wind and just cut as fast as he can. And if it's a DQ or a cutout, then it is what it is. Obviously, he would want to have the points though, right?
That's right. But after you just saw that video, even the most experienced gentleman out there, it hurts my heart sometimes when I watch that.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, knowing that this hot saw is coming up, the goosebumps are coming up. Let's take a look a little bit closer to the tool and discipline here that we're going to see to close out our day.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder two-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timber Sports is upward of 6,000 euros. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
So 6 remaining athletes, 3 heats. It used to be that the guys would come out individually, each one at a time, but now in the spirit of competition, they've decided to put 2 guys on stage at the same time, so we will see heats in hot saw. It's been a while since they've had the individuals up there. I think it's been at least 3 or 4 years. So we have David Bühler going up against Cyril Papst, Oli Reinhard up against Severin Bühler, and Christophe Geissler will be going up against David Knecht. David Bühler and Cyril Papst. Look at those personal best times. Those are respectable. If we think about how the world record at the moment is held by Adam Lethko from the United States. He got that at the pro semifinals this year with a time of 4:62. And that's only last year that we saw the world record broken at the German Championship. So it didn't last very long in the frame of reference of World Championship or world records. And this is the one discipline where it seems world records either stand for a really long time or are broken back to back to back.
Indeed.
Okay, so the prep is ready on stage. What's going to happen here is these guys will have a chance to warm up the saws, then they'll shut them down after the motors have been warmed up, and then they'll re-wrap their starter cord, and then they'll have to more or less just cold start to make their cuts. It makes it all the more difficult because there's a chance that the saw may not start, and that's what makes this the maker or breaker, because anything can happen with these highly tuned motors. And folks, if you're watching here, don't blink for the hot saw because it happens fast.
30 seconds.
Making sure everything's right, every little lever is on or off that needs to be, and that the cord is on the start.
Yeah, and you have to have that right tension of the cord as well so that it doesn't have any slack just before you pull it, because you could lose the grip or anything can happen. It's nuts.
So they usually do have a second starter cord right beside them, just so that they don't have to find the other one.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Wow, Cyril Papst with a 6.28 personal best. Very, very nice cuts. David Bühler with a 7.31, and there's going to be close checks on those blocks. We could have a cut over the line here. Okay, we got thumbs up on stand B, so that looks like it's safe. The question is David Bühler, does he have a cut over the line? So they're going to have a quick check here. 15 centimeters is not a lot of space to cut 3 cookies with that monster saw in your hand.
Da ist Park. Die Linie ist weg. Da ist Park? Ja, aber hier nicht mehr.
And David's right there. Look, look, there is the line. I can see it. It's still there. It's a millimeter, but it's still there. And I would be, in his position, I would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Guys, look close. Get a pair of magnifying glass. Clear off the sawdust. Check it closely. I have a feeling they're going to DQ him for a cut over the line, and he is not going to like that because there's a lot of discussion going on and some disappointed looks on David's face. Let's see here what he says.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand 1, DQ, cut over the line. Stand 2, cuts good.
You called it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I mean, really, it is millimeter work. Like you mentioned, there still has to be 1 millimeter of that blue line still remaining on the round. So for David Bühler, he tried his best to argue his case. And unfortunately, the law was on the judge's side in this case here.
Yes.
And he's still back there discussing it and checking the situation. So let's go back into the slow-mo and see if we can have a look at David's cut. He does have, now this is, I believe this is in the rule book, he does have the chance to dispute the decision by the judges, but that's something that happens off stage, back and after a lot of checks, correct?
That's right, and that's what the Global Sports Director is for here. There's usually 1 or 2 athletes that are named behind the scenes that you can go to, and they will then go and discuss your case with the Global Sports Director, which will then go on to the judges.
That is a massive third cookie, though. That thing was big. You could stop a tank with that, with putting it under the tracks. It was so bad. And immediately he checked the line. He knew he was close. He knew he might be over, and immediately he went and checked that line. So in the defense of Bart Janssen, the judge that was on his stand, he didn't throw a flag down, but he did go over and check the line. And the fact that David himself looked down and said, you know, that might be a bit of a dead giveaway that he did cut over the line. So at the moment, the DQ stands, but we'll keep you up to date if anything changes there. Our next heat here, and this is the one I'm very interested in, is with Oli Reinhard against Severin Bühler. Now you can see Oli Reinhard's personal best is 14:58. It's a thing that is a rookie coming out of the rookie competitions. It's a similar situation to his standing block or his springboard. It's something where he doesn't have a ton of experience, where he needs to really have his own saw and be cutting with his own saw on a regular basis and make sure that saw has 10,000 kilometers on it, so the engine is really running clean. But as we've seen with Oli all day long today, he has been making huge strides in every way positively, and it was just one small mistake really that cost him that top spot in the ranking coming into the hot saw, and that was the down cut on the springboard. And we have to ask him later if we have a chance what that was, you know, just privately even,
yes,
to see where
I'll
his
definitely
headspace
ask
is
him. So he trains out of our club, so we'll definitely be talking to him about that.
Now, is he using his own saw? Is it a new saw for him, or is he borrowing somebody else's saw? Do you know?
He inherited this saw. This saw is very special.
Okay.
If I'm correct, it used to be from a former athlete that has passed away from our club.
Okay.
And it's finally running, so we're hoping for the best for him.
Well, there's... Uh-oh. This is not a good sign. Oh, man. Oli, last 2 disciplines have been rough for him. He does have a chance still to get this thing started. And I mean, it's an inherited tool. It's an inherited piece of equipment. It's been running, obviously. He still needs to learn about it a bit, I'm guessing, and make sure that he really knows the machine inside and out before he feels super confident with it. But he got it running. So just a quick warm-up there. Maybe not the optimal warm-up, but time is a factor here. They only have 30 seconds in total before they have to actually compete. So for Oli right now, his nerves are probably just on fire.
Come one with the saw.
I am one with the force is with me. I am one with the force is with me.
Ready.
Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh no!
A non-start for Oli Reinhard. Severin Bühler with a 7.30, struggling a little bit on that last cut as he stumbled forward. Oli Reinhard does have the chance now to rewrap that cord and start that saw. As long as he can get 3 cuts, the time at this point is moot. He just needs to make sure he's got 3 cookies on the deck, but the time is running away on him, and he does have a limit here, so hopefully he can get that thing started. Here we go. He needs 3 clean cookies on the deck, and that's looking quite okay. So that is an unbelievably slow time, but having to rewrap, restart, and cut everything, a 38.73, assuming nothing goes wrong for him, is going to give him some points, and that's going to count, but we're not going to see him on the podium today, I don't think.
That's right, at least those points, those are most important.
So those last 2 disciplines are disciplines that the rookies do not train in, except for recently in the last year and a half, they've started to train with the springboard with 1 single board. And so Oli came out of the rookies this year and has moved into the pros and is competing with the professionals. And so this discipline and the springboard were the 2 disciplines where for him it was going to be the challenge, really.
That's right, it is a big transition for the rookies to come into the pros.
Then 2, unfortunately, cut over the line, DQ.
Oh my goodness,
oh, wow.
Severin Bühler cut over the line, so he's got himself a DQ there. So that's 2 DQs from David Birrer and Severin Bühler. Unbelievably, Oliver Reinhardt in 2nd place right now behind Cyril Papst with a 38.59 time. And let's take a look back at this heat here. So Severin gets 2 cookies, and then he stumbled a little bit on the 3rd cookie. And here we see the start from Oliver Reinhardt. He got it running briefly, but I think on the lift something happened. And here, Severin, I know that's Oli. Yeah, he's got himself 3 good cookies. So you can see his balance and power is definitely there to lift that saw and control it. So for him, it's about making sure he really knows that machine in and out. He's got everything locked and loaded. So now it's down to these 2 gentlemen right here, Christophe Geissler or David Knecht. Which of these 2 guys will have the fast time, or will both of them be disqualified? And interestingly enough, if we have 2 disqualifications here, Cyril Papst will win and Oli will have 2nd place. But right. Both of these guys are well adept with cutting with these big saws, so let's see.
They sure are.
Christophe Geissler, a quick check to make sure that everything is in order with the lines drawn on that block. He doesn't want to leave anything to chance.
No, definitely not.
And I love his shoes. He's got golf shoes on. That's just fantastic, you know?
Those are snazzy.
Those are snazzy. That's the best word ever. He's got some snazzy shoes for the hot saw, right? Because golf shoes do have spikes underneath them. Modern golf shoes don't have the metal spikes, but those old school golf shoes, they look like they came from a gangster film done in Vegas.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to go play some golf with the boys today, huh? So Christophe Geissler with a pair of classic Lucky golf shoes out there on stage, ready to do the hot saw, and out there with him, David Knecht.
Gonna be an interesting duel.
Yeah.
Warm up your saws.
And I love how David Knecht moved that saw well away from the block for the warm-ups here. Christophe, it just happens all automatically with Christophe. Doesn't need to do anything. A quick few pumps of the gas there for Christophe, resets his cord, and he'll get ready to go. David Knecht, pretty quick actually warm up for him as well. Not really taking a lot of time to heat that motor up too hot. And I think the main thing here is to make sure that the spark plug and everything carbon-wise is blown out of the chamber. The spark plug has got a little bit of heat to it, and that the motor is ready to go, and oil is well distributed inside the machine. All right, folks, this is the last heat of the last discipline of the last round here at the Swiss Pro Championships 2022. 2 DQs from these 2 gentlemen will mean Cyril Papst is your Swiss champion, and Oli Reinhard will have a silver medal. However, is that likely to happen?
Ready.
Not really. Let's get going. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Christophe Geissler with a national record. David Knecht having a cutout, having to cut several more times. And a 10:18 for David Knecht. So that means that Christophe Geissler, if everything is a go on his block and stand, will be your new Swiss champion. David Knecht will have a silver medal. Let's see what they say if he's got the fair cut.
I don't know.
Oh, man. Look at the number of cookies he got on the floor, though. Holy smokes.
That is a lot of cookies for a little bit of wood that he's got.
Yeah, it's a lot of cookies for 15 centimeters. I kind of feel like he might have had a cut over the line. Let's see.
But if I'm correct, this happened to him at last
Set
Swiss
1,
championships as well.
Set 2, unfortunately, cut over the line. DQ.
Oh, my goodness. So it is a DQ for David Knecht. And do you know what that means?
And a new national record.
A new national record for Christophe Geissler. And you called it earlier. He seems to hold all the national records. But not only that, in the slow-mo, we'll see it one more time, what happened with David Knecht, hopefully. There's the start from Christophe Geissler. So practiced, and wow, that's a massive first cookie, but it looks like he actually marked it that way, exactly the way he wants. And there we see the final cut and that national record final drop here. I think that might be, this is, yeah, there's the cutout. So that's the first cutout. He continued to cut, then he went back and reset and cut again to get that last cookie. And actually, I think that was the second cutout, but that time he went over the line.
Yeah.
So, interesting situation here, folks. We have Christophe Geissler with a national record. We have Cyril Papst with a personal best. We have Oli Reinhard with an unbelievably long time. He could have run a marathon in that time, but he's going to learn, he's going to grow from this, and he's going to come back. We have 3 DQs, but the important DQ here was David Knecht, because that means Oli Reinhard has the bronze medal at the event here today. Unbelievable finish. Cyril Papst with a second place, and Christophe Geissler once again is the Swiss national champion. Unbelievable. What a series of events that happened in the hot saw today. That is incredible. You never know what to expect with that discipline. Anything can happen, and we just saw that. There was, I said maybe 2 DQs, and Oli will have a silver medal, but in this case, 1 DQ was all he needed to get onto the podium with the bronze medal spot. So by luck of the draw, as a matter of speaking, Oli Reinhard gets third place. Cyril Papst will take second, and Christophe Geissler, the granddaddy caddy, once again atop that podium. The ham sandwich does it again. So there you see the final results. Christophe Geissler super stable and solid throughout the entire day. The single buck, or the standing block shot wasn't so top for him, but the rest of the way he was super solid and consistent. 72 points. Cyril Papst also underhand chop wasn't his, but then he got the consistency throughout the rest of the day. Oliver Reinhard, what can you say about this kid? He was solid right up until the springboard, and one small mistake, and that was it. And that's all she wrote for his day. And like you say, he's never going to make that mistake again.
No, definitely not.
So Geissler, Papst, Reinhard will be your podium here today. And then we see Knecht, Bühler, Gnedinger in 7th place. Kläger, Gerber, Haas, Amann, and Berwert remaining in those rest 12 positions. So it's a day. It's a day, and it's been a fantastic day of action here at the Swiss Pro Championships 2022. This weekend isn't finished, though. We have the Nations Cup coming up tomorrow. Make sure you definitely join us for that. We're getting our stage ready for the awards ceremony, and we've had a fantastic amount of action today, and it's just going to get better as this weekend and the rest of this month and next month goes on. Let's head over to the stage for the awards ceremony. Oh, an empty bottle.
I don't think they're empty.
I don't think they're empty either. They've been opened and prepped for the athletes. And again, it's going to be a wash with champagne on stage. As you can see, all the bottles set up there. All right, so let's bring up our athletes from 12th to 1st in reverse order. Martin Berwert coming up in 12th place. Next up behind him, or ahead of him actually, is Marcel Amann. Number 10, Robin Haas. He's had his ups and downs today, but solid competitor. We'll see him back for sure. Thomas Gerber coming up on stage now.
He's definitely hoping for better results.
For sure, but that hat will take him home today in happiness. Then we have Albert Kleger coming up on stage. One of the elder statesmen here. Absolutely fantastic to see. Then Pierman Gnedinger. And as I always say, I love the camaraderie of these guys, and it's a family affair, more so than ever with you and Pierman now. And the family that cuts together stays together, right?
That's
I said
right.
that as
That's
I came
right.
in the other day. All right. David Bierer coming up on stage now. He'll join Pierman on the other side of the stage as 6th place today. And then we'll have Severin Bühler. So Severin, the reigning champion, lost it today, unfortunately.
Yes.
Wanted it back, but he's got a 5th place, just outside the top 3 by 2. And then our last athlete to join us on stage here before our podium awards, David Knecht. And where is David? He's hiding somewhere back there. Okay, so... Ah, there he is. He came in from another angle. He avoided our cameras. Eric Rettemose making sure he's placed properly in the lineup. Now our bronze medalist here today for the Swiss Pro Championship 2022. It's his 2nd major competition as a pro.
Yes.
His 1st national championship, and a bronze medal for that young man right there. And as I said, you know, he's got all the tools. He's got everything he needs. Just a couple of small mistakes and maybe a bit more experience, and you'll see him atop that podium in no time flat. Definitely a bit of disappointment knowing that it was just a mental fart, more or less, that happened on that springboard. And a small issue, come on, let's face it, the start of that saw was the main thing, and he had to rewrap and restart, so that was the difference maker. Cyril Papst in the silver medal position. Those are some really nice trophies those guys are getting. Like
they are
crystal
very
cut
nice.
Trophies, wow.
I get to take one of those too.
Ah, yes. But we're not here about you, Yolanda.
I know, sorry.
No, but it's fantastic, 3rd place, with a really good, strong field of women as well. So Cyril Papst, silver medalist, will take 2nd place on the podium there, giving congratulations and handshakes all around. And I think that's Ralph Turke, is it?
It sure
he
is.
the head of STIHL Switzerland, awarding the medals and the trophies to the guys. And now our winner here today, once again on the podium, as he has been so many times in the past, Christophe Geissler, the granddaddy caddy, the ham sandwich with mustard, takes the top spot once again. Getting congratulations from Karen and everybody else on stage as he heads towards that top spot on the podium. And here's that moment where the smiling Buddha comes out in Christophe Geissler. He's serious, he's angry looking the rest of the time, but in these moments you can see there's actually a A lot of genuine, heartfelt person in there.
There sure is.
It's backwards, Christophe. So, podium, Christophe Geissler, Cyril Papst, and Oliver Reinhard. Great job by all 12 of these athletes to put on an absolutely fantastic show today. It couldn't have gone any better. And now we'll have the Swiss national anthem.
Oh, and here it goes. Champagne shower.
I almost get the impression that when the champagne shower happens, it's as much a competition between these guys as when the actual competition was on, as to who can get the other guy the most drenched with champagne. But you know, what a fantastic way to celebrate the end of a day. It's been a fantastic day of competition all around. Christophe Geissler, I said it from the start, at 48 years of age, he's still relevant, and today he proved me right. And he showed everybody the skill level, that experience, and staying healthy and being absolutely just in the prime can give you as you race here. And you can see the whole crew of guys on stage right there just enjoying themselves. Yeah, some of the guys didn't get the positions they wanted. Some of the guys didn't have a few of the cuts they didn't want. We saw that Oli Reinhard had some struggles, as a few of the other guys did as well. But I tell you what, this has been one fantastic day. Any last thoughts from you, Yolanda, about today's action?
It was an awesome competition, and as we see, Christophe Geissler is just unbeatable. What a guy.
Absolutely fantastic. It gives all of us older fellas maybe a little bit of hope for the future. Who knows? Tomorrow, we've got more action for you here with the Nations Cup, where our rookies and our pros will work together to try and gain as many points for national pride. In the meantime, my name is Troy Mannering for Yolanda Gnedinger. I say hello and goodbye from Weiach here in Switzerland. Until tomorrow, everybody, take care. See ya.
See you tomorrow.